Good morning. It is 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Breaking news this morning, a man has been wounded after being shot by police in the Madison area of Nashville overnight. Now, this shooting happened about 10:30 at the Cumberland Crossing Apartments. Police spotted a stolen vehicle. They approached it, and that's when one of the men inside emerged from the car with a gun in his hand.
The two detectives, after an interaction, fired upon this 20-year-old individual, and he was wounded, transported to Skyline Medical Center, where he is currently being treated.
Now, Madison police have released the body cam footage showing that that shooting is now under investigation. Well, you are waking up to some serious cold weather again this morning. Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro.
Single-digit temperatures, wind chills that are near and below zero to start off the day. It's why we have this cold weather advisory, which goes until 9 a.m. Once we get past 9 a.m., the cold doesn't completely go away, but we do start to work our way out of that danger territory.
Now, a lot of schools have already called it off for today. Some are opening late. We've got more in the full forecast in just a few minutes. Some other news of the day. President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship is getting its first legal test tomorrow.
President Donald Trump's controversial executive order on birthright citizenship will face its first legal test on Thursday morning. A federal judge in Seattle, nominated to the bench by Ronald Reagan, will consider a request made by 4 states to block Trump's executive order to refuse to recognize the U.S.-born children of undocumented immigrants. Trump has already been sued 5 times by a combined 22 states and 2 cities over the executive order. Peter Haralambous, ABC News, New York.
Market Numbers Report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Michelle Franzen.
Ended the day higher on news that companies like Charles Schwab and 3M made more money at the end of last year than expected. The Dow gained 538 points, the Nasdaq grew 127, and the S&P added 53. The Dow also rose on news that President Trump would not enact tariffs right away, instead holding off until February 1st. Economists took that to mean tariffs are a lower priority than feared. President Trump also moving to announce a $500 billion artificial intelligence project. It'll be called Stargate. That'll be a venture of 3 companies, OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. Walgreens stock sank 9% after the Justice Department accused the chain of filling millions of prescriptions without legit purpose. Walgreens says it stands behind its pharmacists. JetBlue will now take Venmo for direct bookings on its website. It is the first airline to accept the payment option. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Stock futures are all pointing up this morning. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. It is a stalled out tractor trailer this morning that has the I-65 southbound off ramp to Trinity Lane. The off ramp is blocked off by this tractor trailer that's stalled out this morning. Otherwise, the major roads are looking pretty good heading into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I thought it was Joe Biden's job to cure cancer. That's what was supposed to happen, right? I mean, Obama said that Joe Biden was going to be able to cure cancer. Obviously, that never happened. And now apparently President Donald Trump is looking to cure cancer with a vaccine. Now, it's all part of this $500 billion private sector initiative put together and facilitated by President Donald Trump to develop artificial intelligence. I find this whole thing fascinating. This is Donald Trump announcing Stargate.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
So you've got Sam Altman with OpenAI, Larry Ellison with Oracle. Of course, you know, Oracle has some ties here to Nashville. And also SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son. Now, they're going to, apparently, they've opened up or are going to open up large data centers in Texas and maybe even in the state of Tennessee. Who knows? They're going to expand to other states. But the point is that these tech giants, you just heard President Trump talking about this, these tech giants are going to invest eventually $500 billion to develop artificial intelligence here in America. And one of the things that Donald Trump has been saying all along, and many other people, including Senators Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty, a lot of folks have been saying that we need to develop our own AI infrastructure here in America and not allow China to just take the ball and run with it. But there's some very controversial things involved in all of this, including these billionaires creating a vaccine for individual cancers using artificial intelligence. This is really interesting, terrifying as well. I'm going to get into that, but this is Larry Ellison.
All of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do it using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person.
Yeah, I mean, really interesting. So immediately, as you can imagine, and I was one of them, people are screaming on social media, this is crazy. We can't possibly trust these vaccines. And that folks are even crazy for thinking about vaccines for individual cancers. Didn't we learn from the negative impacts of COVID? Now, one big distinction is these won't be mandatory, but they can certainly compel you to take it and perhaps even tell you that the insurance companies, for example, they can tell you that you won't get the cancer treatments you need unless you've taken the vaccine. I mean, perhaps insurance companies may play a compelling role in all of this. Now, if you have a deadly cancer and it's like, I'm going to die, so what have I got to lose? But if you listen to Larry Ellison, he's talking about simply if you have indications of cancer in your bloodstream, then you've got to take this vaccine.
So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Now, look, I'm here to tell you, yeah, sure, it sounds promising. It sounds amazing. It sounds incredible. But again, I'm really skeptical on all this. I'm just going to tell you I am. Now, as you know, Trump supporters en masse have rebelled against vaccines, quite frankly, as they should, and particularly vaccine mandates, because they were mandatory and there were and are side effects. So that's number one. Number two, Dr. Peter McCullough, you know who he is. He's a doctor whose mission is medical freedom. He is well known for being skeptical on vaccines, very outspoken as well. He is a warrior on this, and he's already sounding the alarm. He was making the rounds on some medical freedom type podcasts.
Oncologists are only allowed to offer you expensive drugs, expensive chemotherapy, expensive immunotherapy, sometimes costing tens of or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I can tell you, these mRNA cancer vaccines, which they're going to be pushing, that Moderna is working on already with phase 3 trials in the UK and Australia, these mRNA cancer vaccines, you know what the cost is attached to these things? It's about $500,000 US per treatment.
$500,000 per treatment. That is insane. So my question is this purely a money grab? Are they doing this for humanity's sake? Is this a way for the pharmaceutical companies to get the insurance companies to pay massive amounts of money? And what if the insurance companies decide not to pay for it? Because, you know, that's going on. Well, then what do? Then it means that those who can afford the cancer vaccines can afford it, and those who cannot. But that's the other question. Dr. Peter McCullough, will these vaccines even actually work?
And they're going to be calling it a cancer cure. They'll probably be combining it with some established cancer drugs just to make the mRNA look better, or probably make it look like it works, because I don't think it does work.
Wow.
In all the clinical trials that I've seen so far, they're talking about 10% improvement or 20% improvement. This stuff doesn't work. So they're going to try to polish it up to make it look like it works, and they're going to attach a $500,000 price tag to it.
All right, so be that as it may, these three billionaires, they were speaking to Fox News after that big Donald Trump press conference. This is Sam Altman.
This means we can create AI and AGI in the United States of America. Wouldn't have been obvious that this was possible. I think if a different president, it might not have been possible, but we are thrilled to get to do this, and I think it'll be great for Americans, great for the whole world.
So Donald Trump is on in some circles, he's getting a lot of props because he is recruiting these billionaires to invest in America. And so I appreciate that. And this is not only just about the cancer vaccines. I'm air quoting this, by the way, the cancer vaccines. But it's about creating this artificial intelligence sort of culture here in America, this infrastructure. And I do like that. But here's my question for you. And it is our Daily Dan poll of the day. Would you take this cancer vaccine if you could? What you got to do, you got to go to YouTube. You got to watch us on YouTube, and the poll is right there. What is the KGB, Jeff Malinoff, what is the exact wording?
So it's, would you take a cancer vaccine if supported by President Trump?
Okay.
Yes, no, and also I put undecided. Some people were still like, maybe put in that because this isn't a definite yes or no kind of answer.
No, it's not. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of at definitely undecided, skeptical, absolutely. But it's not mandatory. But again, they could very easily compel you to take these vaccines. So go on and take the Daily Dan poll. Go to YouTube, watch the video. The poll is right there. Would you take a vaccine if it was endorsed or supported by Donald Trump for cancer? By the way, the super text line is open as well. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. On a completely different note, at some point, maybe we'll do it during the 535. Have y'all seen this? I think she's kind of a wackadoo. This bishop out there in Washington, D.C. that chose to lecture Donald Trump in this sermon that he was, I believe, forced to attend. Here's the thing that I find most funnest, whatever, really intriguing about Donald Trump and his attendance of this particular sermon. Joan, have you seen the faces of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Melania as they're sitting there and they're being forced to listen to this sermon? I've got a lot of...
It's crazy.
It is crazy. I've got a lot of audio on this. It is all coming up. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads.
Couple of incidents so early in the morning for us. I-65 southbound, the off-ramp to Trinity Lane is blocked off this morning by a stalled-out tractor-trailer. Also, the westbound lanes of 24. Got to watch it. There's an accident blocking the left lane right at the Antioch overpass this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know what I think it is, Joan?
What is it?
I think people's minds are frozen and they've lost their ability to drive. I think that's what it is.
You think they, don't have any heat in their car?
Listen, it takes a minute. Do you know what's so funny? So, number one, I got into my car. It was 10 degrees. I actually took a picture and posted it on my Facebook page just because it is so incredibly cold. And then I'm driving down the road and it turns 8 degrees. I mean, it is freezing out.
Yeah. That's where I was this morning when I started.
Do you have butt warmers in your car, Joan?
I don't, and I'm so mad about it. I thought I had them in this vehicle that I just bought. Mm-hmm. No butt warmer, no hand warmer, no auto start.
Malinoff, do you have you have butt warmers in your car?
No, I don't have my car's not fancy enough for your seat warmers.
I don't have butt warmers in my car either, Jeff. Quit. So you can stop shaming the host.
You just put you put the electric blanket on the chair, don't you?
No, that's a good idea.
It is a good idea.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
We could manufacture that.
We could.
It's a lot of money.
We could slap a WTN logo on it. Well, we're the official butt warmer of Nashville.
Well, just Natasha. We were talking about my Natasha, quote unquote. She every time I talk to her, she's always when she's at home, she has her electric blanket.
Yeah,
because it's she just swears to it.
So Natasha's still a thing, huh?
Well, we're going to use that name for whoever I'm seeing at the moment.
Oh,
wow.
I see. Whoa. I hope she's not listening.
Hey, Joan, how do you say playa in Russian?
No,
yeah.
It's not like that. I'm just saying.
That's actually exactly what it sounds like.
Okay, the original Natasha didn't work out. It's all good. She's still a friend. It just didn't work.
Joan, Jeff's been friend-zoned.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? It suddenly got from cold to freezing in Jeff's life.
Yeah. Well, you need a butt warmer for that.
Okay, but fortunately, I'm seeing someone else, and
you're still on the market, is what you're saying.
I was still on the market.
Yeah.
No,
that was really quick.
Casual.
It was.
Okay, ever heard of casual dating? And then once it gets a real relationship, you stop casual dating.
I go from first date to love to marriage in a couple of days.
Okay, how fast did you marry Amy?
That's actually a bit of a sore spot because it took me actually 5 years to propose to Amy.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Hey, what are people saying about the cancer vaccine?
So Right now, the poll is actually at 62% no, 35% undecided. I think, again, because of Trump. And then 4% yes. So we actually have a yes or a vote or two
A
for
few
yes.
yesers.
And the text line is also talking about RFK Jr. in case of
Yes.
waiting for him to
Yeah.
approve of it, or some people are saying he wouldn't even consider this because, again, it's a vaccine and he's been very anti-vaccine, rightfully so with all the data. So a lot of people are waiting on more information, obviously.
And I don't want to get too technical on the whole RFK thing. He will say, at least more recently, he'll say that he hasn't been necessarily against vaccines.
Right.
But he wants more transparency with vaccines, and he wants them to be held accountable. So that's part of the deal with RFK Jr. is he's like, I'm not going to take away your vaccines. I'm not going to, I want them to be more transparent. I want to make sure that the vaccines are not causing side effects or harm. And I want to make sure, he'll say, that these things actually work. I mean, so he's not anti-vaccine. And a lot of people will tell you, I've actually learned a lot about I'm going to air quote this because I don't want to make people mad, because I've got a lot of people who would fall into this kind of a category. People call them anti-vaxxers, and I'm air quoting that. They're not anti-vaxxers. What they are, they've got a lot of questions, and they want transparency, and they want to ensure that these vaccines are not necessarily harming our kids, and they want accountability. That's what they want, and they want to end the revolving door of FDA and the pharmaceutical companies, because they hop from one to the other. A lot of these scientists, like Dr. Fauci, they make money, they make revenue off of these vaccines. So they work in the pharmaceutical company, and they develop these vaccines, and then off they go to the FDA, and all of a sudden they're recommending the very vaccines that they helped create because they get money off of those vaccines. So there's a big-time conflict of interest. So people who are, and again, air quoting, anti-vaxxers, in reality, they've got a lot of very legitimate reasons why they are skeptical. So I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. But does that make sense, Joan?
It makes a lot of sense.
All right, very good. You guys want to hear my Marco Rubio joke again that I did yesterday?
Moving right along, don't you want to know what the headlines are?
Yes, I do. What are the headlines, Joan?
Well, it is super cold again this morning. We've got some advice from an HVAC expert for folks with heat pumps for their homes. Also, a police officer gunned down in North Carolina overnight. We've got an update on that story coming up as well. Those stories at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
528, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. So I just popped into the text line. 5581 says, the way that I understand the cancer vaccine, it would be designed specifically to target a specific cancer for a specific individual who has been diagnosed with that cancer. Yes, that's the audio that I played from Larry Ellison. He said it is a treatment to cancer in a specific person, not necessarily a vaccine for the general public. Yes, but people are still calling it a vaccine. I guess even if it is an individual vaccine, that is what Larry Ellison described, and that's what Donald Trump is describing as well. So, yeah, people, by and large, I mean, they seem to be very much against this, very much against the vaccine. I think cancer vaccine.
The word vaccine doesn't help its cause, I think. I think the word specifically vaccine doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
COVID didn't help the cause at all. I
No.
think people are completely skeptical about any vaccine at all, especially one that's linked to mRNA.
Well, this is what Larry Ellison said.
All of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person.
So the way that he describes it, it's almost like, and I mentioned this in the monologue, but the way that he describes it, it sounds like if you've got even the possibility of cancer, then because it's in your blood, then that vaccine or treatment will be available to you. But I think all of us are right. The word vaccine, there is just a knee-jerk reaction, and it isn't good. It's 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning to you. It's now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 10 degrees right now, folks. 10 single degrees. Hope you're ready for it, too, because it's single-digit temperatures in some spots this morning, and it's led to cold weather advisory for this morning. It'll last until 9 o'clock. Now, some places could actually see temps below zero right now. This technician from Heller HVAC is telling Channel 4 this morning that heat pump systems may not be ready for this brand of cold.
Sometimes with heat pumps, turn it into the emergency heat. Anything under 35 is what we recommend. Just turn it into emergency heat and run those heat strips. Gas furnaces, usually they're pretty good about anything, and just regular maintenance.
Now, we'll get a little bit milder around here by Thursday afternoon. We've got more for you coming up in the forecast in a few moments. Police in Franklin releasing a surveillance video today showing a group of teenagers ramming their car repeatedly into the shop window at the Arms and Ammo store on Beasley Drive. This happened the early morning hours on Monday. Now, these kids were hoping to get their hands on the guns and the ammo inside, but they weren't successful. They were later arrested, and now police say these 5 teens ranged in age between 13 and 15 years old.
It is concerning. I mean, only they endanger themselves, but other people driving on the roads. Again, I wonder where the parents are at that time. These kids are our future. Of course, it's concerning.
Now, these teens are facing charges today. The gun shop, however, has reopened. We're following breaking news overnight, too, of a police officer shooting in Raleigh, North Carolina. Deputy Police Chief Rico Boyce says that it started with officers conducting an investigation at a home, and then somebody inside that home opened fire on the officers.
One officer shot, one suspect is deceased, and we're trying to determine what all started this incident.
The officer was seriously wounded. That deputy is asking for prayers for that officer. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, we have some construction workers, very cold people out there working on 24, the eastbound lanes at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass this morning. Be careful of that. Also on the 24 westbound side at the Antioch Pike overpass. That's an accident. It's blocking off the HOV lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.536, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, along with KGB, Jeff Malinoff. Joan Jones is here as well. By the way, Joan, have you seen the title of today's broadcast on video, what Jeff has titled it as? Go ahead, Jeff. Why don't you tell everyone what the title is of the video?
Well, the title
Video
of
stream.
the title of the video stream is Dan Mandis, the man, the myth. Oh, look, it's Joan.
I love it.
I know you do, Joan.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
I was like, so
cute.
When I come into the office or studio, like I always brainstorm, like try to like something to get people's attention, like quick little quippets like that. And I was thinking, like, if I show the Dan, the man, the myth, the legend, it sounds like I'm brown nosing. So I'm like, all right, how do I put him down a notch?
We need to work on your brown nosing. Clearly.
Well, no, I had to unbrown nose myself and go, okay.
Sure.
And I know Joan is our, she is the,
Joan's the star.
She's the draw. She's the
Joan
draw.
is the star. Absolutely. Not a problem.
So I was like, okay, I got to have Joan in this. And I was going to go, one of my ideas was like the man, the myth. Oh, hey, Joan, like me just off topic, just randomly talking. But I was like, oh, that doesn't work. So I was like, oh, look, it's Joan. Feels
It's all
better.
good. Listen, it's all fine, well, and good. Also, we sometimes, and Joan, agree with me or not, Kamala Harris.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Watch the knee jerk.
Okay.
Jerk. Kamala Harris, she's given us so many word salads in the past.
Yeah.
That there have been times, and I've talked about this before, where I think people are prone to call word salad when it's actually not really word salad.
Yeah. Agreed.
So apparently I saw this and I asked Jeff to listen to it. I have not heard this.
Yeah.
But I wanted Jeff to listen to it because I don't want to, play it if it's not really word salad,
Well,
right?
let's set the stage. She's talking to the LA Fire Department.
Who is?
Kamala
Harris is
Got it.
speaking to the LA Fire Department because she, of course, wants to run for governor of California.
Oh, yeah.
And right behind her is her future ex-husband.
Yes.
So,
Dougie.
but yeah. All right, let's but after the first 5 seconds I was like, this is
So
already...
let's hear the word salad with Kamala.
Strangers who, in the face of that stranger, they see a neighbor. These are folks who understand the strength and the value of community, which is everyone.
So play the
coming
first 5
together
seconds
with a
again, because I know
shared
that the rest of this is just,
it cut
end
off
of
at
the bar nonsense.
Yeah, the cutoff, but I just love this part. Hold on, I'll play it again.
strangers who, in the face of that stranger, they see a neighbor.
Face of that stranger, you see a neighbor. Like, that's what I was like, okay. So
Stranger, in the face of that stranger, they see a neighbor.
I guess they were like, you see a stranger. Like, obviously this is cut off like in the middle of her speech, but it's still like, stranger, you see a neighbor? It's like, really? Like,
I'm trying in my head to make it make sense.
It doesn't.
And if you have to try that hard, it probably just doesn't.
Yeah,
in fairness, my neighbor is a stranger because I have no idea what the dude even looks like.
Yeah, but you're not going to go, oh, that's like, she's trying too hard
I don't know what
sound...
she's trying to do. I don't know where she's going with all of this, but whatever.
Yeah,
It's a unity call.
Yeah. But like, if that's the start of your speech or whatever it is, it's like, that's not a good start. And
She needs to be like a Biden, like Joe Biden, and just carry around a mobile teleprompter is what they need to do.
A mobile teleprompter.
A mobile teleprompter.
You mean like a cell phone?
Yes, like a cell phone.
Read
you
off
can put
the phone.
notes on the cell phone, or maybe an iPad, and just hold it right up in front of her.
No, that's what her ex-husband's or future ex-husband's gonna do. Just right in front of her face, in front of the camera, just hold up an iPad. Read this, honey.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I know why Michelle Obama is staying away from Barack Obama in politics.
There's a divorce on the way.
I believe perhaps, but also, you know what I think she might be doing?
What?
This might be a conspiracy theory, but I'm going to go with it. But this is not an official talk show host position.
Okay.
I think she's going to run for president. In 4 years. Here's my reasoning.
Go ahead.
My reasoning is that she's not showing up at, Donald Trump's inauguration.
Yeah.
She didn't show up at Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Right.
Because a lot of this stuff is politicized. So she doesn't want to be. Remember what the big criticism right now is of the Democrats, right? So the big criticism is that you called Donald Trump Hitler for all this time, and now you're welcoming him into the White House. You're joking with him. Joe Biden even said, I hope he succeeds.
Right. They've normalized Hitler.
Right.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama doesn't want to be seen in the same room or being one that has normalized Hitler or has normalized Donald Trump. So she wants to stay away from all of that normalization of Donald Trump, which is, part of the whole debate going on with the left and the media and whatever. And because they always horribilize Donald Trump, and then all of a sudden, well, he's fine. Let's welcome him into the White House. She doesn't want to be accused of that. In 4 years or 3 years, when she announces that she's running for president, she wants to be able to say, look, I wasn't there at Donald Trump's inauguration. I wasn't welcoming him back into politics or the White House. No, I stayed away because I wasn't going to be part of that normalization of Donald Trump. Therefore, I believe he is Hitler, and I'm running for president in, against, well, it wouldn't be Donald Trump. It would be J.D. Vance. Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about.
But I feel like she would have had a better chance to beat Trump than Vance, no?
No, I think she would have a better chance at beating J.D. Vance.
Really? Because I thought if she, honestly, I was talking about this with people, even like family members. If she ran her care, like just her, like how the public looks at her alone, I think would have pushed to put her maybe over the top.
Right.
Not her policies, just how, I mean, she's charismatic. She has something that Kamala doesn't. She's very good at the whole public speaking
look,
thing.
you know what? You say she's charismatic.
Yeah.
Compared to Kamala Harris, that's what I was saying. I mean, I'm more charismatic than Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, you just need someone with just a little bit of charisma, and she had that.
My cat is more charismatic than Kamala, and guess what? I don't have a cat.
So I was going to ask what your cat's name was, too.
So here's the thing, though. It's been well documented that Michelle Obama despises politics and would stay out of it at all costs. So I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know if that holds. Yeah.
Listen, I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Have I ever heard her say that? No, it's just the characterization by the media of how she feels about politics.
But she has never said it.
She's never. Not that I know of.
Well, when you go low, when they go low, you go high.
That's
you
right.
Guys. That's all I know. That's all I know her from, to be completely honest.
Well, she's finally proud of her country as well.
I also think that they are getting a divorce. Do you think they're getting a divorce?
You don't see them together very much.
Nope.
Clearly. He seems to be completely, it doesn't bother him one iota that she's not with him. He seems to be having quite a good time.
You want to hear my biggest conspiracy theory? She was dating the chef.
Ooh, the one that ended up in the drink?
A lot of people have said that.
I've thought about this, too. I'm like,
wow.
What if she was, because here's, it's not true. It's allegedly, for lawyer purposes. But, I mean, maybe she was seeing the chef, and the chef got the what's it called? The Concrete All-Stars. You know what I mean?
Hey, can we talk about Elon Musk?
Absolutely.
Sure.
And this Nazi salute, this
oh my
supposed
God.
Nazi salute.
Yeah.
It was a dance.
So KGB and I actually talked about this off the air yesterday. And I think one of the things I either said to you, Jeff, or I said it to myself, but I'm thinking I don't want to spend the next 4 years covering the stupidity and the irrationality of the left.
Oh no, you said that to me.
Did I say that to you?
You were saying like this is going to be the next 4 years. Anything you do is going to like, and also he did like a move like this.
But
like,
you're on radio, man. So what do you mean?
I'm sorry. Like he moved to the right and then to the left. Like he was moving his arms left and
you
to
know what
right.
he looked like, Joan? He looked like John Travolta doing the Saturday Night Live thing.
Yes,
that's
actually,
what he looked like.
You know what he looked like to me?
Saturday Night Fever.
A guy who's somewhere on the spectrum that just doesn't get the whole. He was so emotional, which is not familiar always for people on the spectrum.
So in case you folks don't, and you're right, Joan, or he's trolling.
Oh. He's good at trolling, too. He
if
loves
there's
that.
anybody who is outstanding at trolling, it's Elon Musk. And if you don't know what happened, let me repost this on my socials because I'm actually got it on. Follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. So he's up on stage and he's getting a lot of love. And so he sort of, he touches his heart, right?
Right.
And then he does sort of, again, the only way that I can describe it is a Saturday Night Fever right arm up in the air, and his hand is kind of flat. You know what I mean? But here's the deal, is that libs of TikTok and others have also posted photographs of Michelle Obama,
I've seen
Pocahontas, Hillary Clinton, Stephen Colbert, I can't see.
I love that.
And Barack Obama.
If you're looking on the stream, you're doing this, going back and forth.
I can't see.
Oh,
Everybody, but they've all done it.
Yeah.
And yet there's this, oh my God, he's done the nuts. It's just stop. I feel like I have to dumb down my show to cover the left and their irrational tendencies.
Well, remember, the OK sign was white supremacy.
Yes, that was white supremacy, yeah.
So they'll make anything, they'll spin anything into Nazi or like, and that's what bothers me. And, grown up Jewish, again, I've said this on the air, like I've met Holocaust survivors. I met people that went through these stuff, and you're normalizing what they went through. You're watering down this horrible atrocity that happened in the 40s, and we're still like trying to get Trump to compare to what Hitler did, and it's absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd.
Let's see here, 2356. Dan, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Well,
listen, I didn't say it was my official talk show host position.
I'm wondering what he was talking about because you said a lot of things.
That's true.
I mean, is he talking about the cancer vaccine? Is he talking about?
No, I think he's talking about Michelle Obama.
thing?
He's talking about Michelle Obama and my theory that maybe she'll run. Remember that neither one of you were on the show yet, but I kept bringing that up to Brian Wilson, Michelle Obama running for president, and he just, I kind of over the years have learned to understand what triggers Brian. So then I just started asking him just because I knew that it would make his eyes roll. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody called me an a-hole on the super text line.
I saw that.
He apologized.
He apologized right after.
He didn't have his coffee, which I understand.
No, but here's the thing. Like, basically what he said, which is fine, whatever. But what he was accusing me of is saying that the cancer vaccine was going to be mandated by the government. That's what he said that I was intimating or saying. I literally said in that monologue 3 or 4 different times, no, this is the big difference. It's in my notes.
I uploaded on the podcast. It's now forever in the podcast.
Yeah.
In our podcast that you said it multiple times. This is not mandated. I'm pretty sure in your audio.
I don't know about the audio, but I said that multiple times.
Yes. You also apologized to the guy saying, hey, if I didn't make that clear, then that's my fault.
Yeah, I said, okay, well, then let me go ahead and clarify, even though I knew exactly what I said, because I'm very careful about things. And
sorry, I found out.
That actually made me laugh.
Yeah.
Marco Rubio. Anyway, but I appreciated I appreciated him reaching out. He said, "You're welcome, a-hole."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
He immediately apologized, though.
I know, but I didn't deserve that.
He also complimented me, which I rarely get, so I appreciate him.
Is there any end to your suck-uppery?
I don't get. Do you think I get compliments a lot? No.
Okay, so I want to make sure that everyone is of the understanding. This morning, KGB has sucked up to Joan and random super texters, but me, he throws under the bus multiple times. The guy that actually...
Dan, you have thrown me under that bus more than I have thrown you under it.
Beep, beep,
yeah.
beep. Yeah, you just wait till the next air check meeting, young man.
Oh, man, here we go.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear in the 6:32 segment where you had that 5 seconds where you forgot what you were going to say and you stuttered? Oh, those are really fun. I love air check sessions.
Wow, that's just...
Maybe you could have said it better like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
You imagine. You know what we ought to do one time is, and I know that the PD doesn't get up this early, so we can speak freely amongst ourselves. We should tape some of those PD sessions where you could have said it better like
play
this.
it back for him.
I thought you meant like record the meetings. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's fireable.
Record it and then air check our air check session with the PD. That would be fun.
Yeah, we'd all be fired.
You know, he's a good sport. I'm sure he would.
You know what? I'm very much kidding. I love the PD. He's actually a really good guy.
No, yeah, he is.
No, I am. I'm not being whatever.
Yeah. We were talking off the air. He helped me get a little show on the sports station. So,
listen to this.
I
now,
know, right?
Joan,
Now he's a
you
good
pick up
guy.
what's going on now?
Yeah, I do.
So now, KGB is trying to get a plug for his little show over on the sports station.
Okay, so what's your little show?
Well, it's on Fridays. We'll promote it on Friday.
No, we'll promote it now. What you're doing, he's doing a...
I try to move on.
He's promoting gambling, is what he's doing.
You are?
Yeah,
It's a show about fantasy football and betting, okay? Because sports and betting just go hand in hand. And some people need advice for it, and I give them their advice.
Tell Pete Rose that.
Well, I'm not in the league. I think those are
Sorry.
two very different things, God rest his soul. But, I gave some people some betting advice last Friday, and I hit 2 out of 3.
Good for you. All right. Very good. We didn't get to the whole Bishop thing.
Oh, well.
But you know what we're going to do?
But we have to.
We'll do it at 6.
Okay, that's good.
We'll do it at 6. But here's what I want you folks to do, is that if you have a second, when we're in commercial break, because I want you to keep listening, but go find it on YouTube. The thing that I love the most about that, Joan, is Trump's faces. And Melania is speaking to Trump like, can you imagine this woman? And Trump was like, yeah, this is stupid. I mean, you can tell it in their faces.
Yeah.
So, and then J.D. Vance is looking at Trump like, who told us we had to be here? You know what I mean? Like, I love their faces.
But the response that President Trump gave afterwards as he was walking into the White House.
And I've got that audio.
Okay, good. That's
I've got the whole thing.
He is so much more measured this time around. I'm enjoying the heck out of this.
Yeah, but then he sent that early morning social media post. We're going to get into all of that.
Gotcha.
5:54, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7, WTN. And Joan Jones has the news coming up.
I don't need any music if you just want me to go.
They're going to do something to this studio at some point this weekend. I hope that they take this trash heap of a computer and just like burn it to the ground, because it keeps failing on me like
right now,
like other things in my life. Anyway, anyway, please, Joan, what is coming up?
So there was a shooting overnight, a police-involved shooting in Madison. We've got details on that. Also, who were all the Tennesseans that were released from prison after President Trump's pardon? We've got that story with Ken Weaver coming up right at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock here on WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Morning, 6 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It is a frigid 8 degrees this morning. We've got more about the forecast coming up, too. This is the coldest air of the season, but Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us it's not going to last much longer.
Most of us in the single digits with wind chills that will get very close to zero in some areas, if not just below, as we head through the remainder of our morning. But the rest of your first alert forecast, we start to turn things around today. Call it a warm-up, call whatever you would like. We are going to get back to at least near freezing today thanks to that wind direction, which is changing this afternoon, coming more from the south and the southwest.
It's pretty bad when it feels like freezing is so much nicer than what we have right now. We've got more in the forecast. Stick around. Metro Nashville police have released the body cam footage from a shooting at the Cumberland Crossing Apartments in Madison last night. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovic tells us that 2 officers spotted a stolen vehicle and they approached it at about 10:30 last night.
Metro police say the suspect got out of the car and walked towards an apartment. When they yelled for him, police say he turned around with a gun in hand. Investigators say shots were fired after a confrontation with detectives. Body camera footage shows the suspect getting shot shortly after the body camera is turned on.
Now, that suspect was wounded. It's not clear if police were able to arrest the second suspect in that case. At a White House event last night where he took questions from reporters on his first full day of his second term, President Trump was grilled about his decision to pardon January 6th rioters.
President Trump said he found their sentences excessive.
These people have already served years in prison. And they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing.
Several Tennesseans who were serving time have been released in connection to the pardons and commutations, including the zip tie guy, 32-year-old Eric Mungel of Nashville, 29-year-old Ronald Maccabee of Unionville, 43-year-old Joseph Jose Lino Padilla of Cleveland, and Michael N. Asbury of Knoxville. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
President Trump, by the way, has ordered the federal government to get rid of all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And he put all officials who lead DEI on leave with pay. In a memo to the Office of Personnel Management, Trump said that DEI programs have, quote, divided Americans by race, wasted taxpayer dollars, and resulted in shameful discrimination. Those DEI employees will be shown the door by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We've got stock futures pointing up this morning with the Dow futures gaining 45. NASDAQ futures are up 184 points. S&P futures, they're up by 26. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, we've got an accident, 24 the westbound lanes. This is at Antioch Pike overpass. The HOV lane is blocked, and traffic looks like it's stop and go all the way from Bell Road, exit 59, up to that spot this morning. It is pretty slow. Construction work, too, on the eastbound lanes of 24. This is at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass, stop and go from Springfield, Ashland City, up to that point. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How are you, friends? Welcome on in to your Wednesday, January 22nd. Oy vey, is it cold. I got in the car today. It was 10 degrees, and I took a photo. You can see it on my socials, at Dan Mandis Show. And it doesn't feel like it's getting any warmer. So just know, and by the way, you might have some of that frost on your car as well. Reaction to that bishop, Marion Booty, or Buddy. I think it's Buddy.
It's Buddy.
It's Buddy? Okay. So reaction to this Marion Buddy, that bishop who chose to lecture Donald Trump at the National Prayer Service at the Washington Cathedral, has been harsh and immediate. Now, you've probably heard some of this. I know the Murphy Show spoke a lot about this yesterday as well. But if you haven't heard it, I've got a few select cuts. At Donald Trump's reaction, he had a couple of different reactions. I'm going to play and relate to you both of the reaction. And by the way, old Bishop Buddy was also on CNN last night, where she actually, believe it or not, gave Donald Trump some props. So that audio as well, straight ahead. But it all happened yesterday afternoon. Trump had to go to this service, and J.D. Vance is there. Melania is there as well. Some of Trump's family is there, and of course, the president, listening to this lecture from this clearly progressive bishop.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
So, number one, I don't know how this is her place to lecture Donald Trump on anything. But just so you know, friends, if you look this up, and it's all over, there were 25 trans people killed during Donald Trump's first 4 years in office. 25. And some of those were obviously related to mental illness, drugs, living in dangerous situations out on the streets, etc. Do you know that during Joe Biden's first term, there were 46 killed in 2021 alone? But she's talking about kids. And so these young children who, and I'm going to air quote this, fear for their lives that she's talking about, the only reason they're fearing for their lives is because the adults in their lives are instilling fear in them. Now, y'all know, because a lot of you are conservative. No conservative wishes harm on, I'm going to air quote this, trans kids. None. It's actually quite the opposite. We want them to wait until the age of 18 before doing anything permanent to their body that could negatively impact the rest of their lives. So if you think about it, and I'm not going to belabor the point, but if you think about it, who actually has the more empathetic and sympathetic opinion here? Conservatives or progressives? Progressives want kids to mutilate their bodies, and it's a permanent mutilation before the age of 18. 9, 10, 12, 13. Really, for a lot of these folks on the left, there doesn't seem to be any limit. Circumstances, who cares about the circumstances? Consequences, who cares about the consequences? Just by all means, let them mutilate their bodies. And so for me, when I heard that, it's like, who is this woman to talk to Donald Trump about anything? And especially in a church context. And I understand that, politics and church, sometimes they intersect. But Trump certainly didn't go there because he wanted to be lectured. I'm reasonably certain that he went there out of obligation. And then she gets into illegal aliens.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
All right, so we don't need the bishop to tell us anything. Now, one person has accused every illegal alien of being a violent criminal. Of course we haven't. Donald Trump, I even played you the audio yesterday, friends. Donald Trump yesterday. He said that we want legal immigration, period. That's what he supports, legal immigration, as every conservative does. So those people that, as she says, this Bishop Buddy, the people that work in restaurants where we eat our food, work in hospitals on the overnight shift, and whatever else she said, they need to go through the process to become legal citizens because they knowingly broke the law. That's what they need to do. And so you can see as she's going on and on, lecturing Donald Trump, lecturing J.D. Vance, you can tell that Trump is getting like bored and restless and kind of making that face like, all right, enough of this crap, right? You saw that, Joan, the faces that everybody was making?
I did.
I loved when Melania, did you? Oh, and by the way, I posted some of their reaction to my X feed at Dan Mandis Show as this Bishop Buddy is doing all this. And you can tell, again, that Trump is getting bored. Melania is talking to Trump, and you can tell that she's like, this lady's on crack. You know what I mean?
She was kind of smiling like,
yeah.
Like, seriously, this woman?
She was. And that's what I mean.
Like I
got to tell you, over the last, I have always appreciated Melania.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of days, I've really come to appreciate Melania.
If Trump is having his moment because he's obviously feeling much more settled in his position, Melania is too. She feels it. She gets it now, and she's not so bothered by the press.
Yeah, and I love that she's kind of smirking.
Yeah.
And you've got J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is looking down at Trump. And Usha is there as well, J.D.'s wife.
I couldn't see her because he was looking at her, but I couldn't see her expression.
Yeah, and, there was a moment where Trump just kind of starts laughing, like, am I really having to sit through this? We've got more of this audio coming up straight ahead. 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. .6:15 on Nashville's Morning News. Your weather for today, 32 right now. We've got 7 degrees with those naked statues, certainly cold. And we appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. You know what I'd like people, super texters, text us what your temperature is, where you are. I'm just kind of curious as to how cold it is out there.
People have already been talking about that. I saw someone at one point, I think it's like a little down the road, but like 4 degrees where some people are.
Okay.
4 degrees in Rockville.
All right. Very good. Yeah, keep them coming. 615-737-9986. And so you have the president stuck in this service with this Marianne Buddy, this bishop, and she is, again, lecturing the president. And I again, not to belabor the point, but I love that President Trump's reaction, which was just sort of, he's sitting through it because he's obligated to.
I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
In fairness to Trump, Biden would have just fallen asleep. This mercifully ends so Donald Trump can get back to work. And of course, the media, they're following him and they want to know, President Trump, what did you think?
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They could do much better.
But it was very muted. I mean, he was like, what did you think? Did you like it? Said, I didn't like it very much. I think it could have been a better service. They need to do better. But that was it.
Okay, so the 30,000-foot view here.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that church in particular, which is the National Cathedral, has been just... LGBTQ has invaded this church like crazy. So it's not surprising.
Well, this bishop looks a little crunchy, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yes, she does. And as a matter of fact, every church, now I'm saying every, but it's, if not every, almost every church in that area, in the Washington, D.C. zone, is flying a pride flag. Every day of the week, Black Lives Matter flags and pride flags all over the place in front of churches. Everyone is welcome. And if anyone takes down one of those flags or does anything to one of those flags, they're charged and they go to jail for doing such things.
I want to know who in their right mind, I understand that it's tradition, but who in their right mind is forcing Donald Trump to go to this service? And so you can tell that the president has been stewing on this because late last night, early this morning.
Oh, here we go.
He posted on social media. The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left, hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention, and it's true, she failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. She is not very good at her job, he says. She and her church owe the public an apology. I don't think that she'll apologize.
Oh, she's famous for kind of doing this stuff. I watched a video last night. I can't find it now, of course, but I watched a video last night of her, giving everybody the business at the George Floyd protests in Washington, D.C. that were very violent. Many places had to close down and board up. And she's, giving everybody the business about how this is justified, that people are out here because they're feeling so angry, whatever. And also, there's video of her talking about, remember when the church got burned? The Church of the Presidents there at Lafayette Square.
Yep.
A reporter from CNN asked her, how bad was the damage? And she said, somebody broke a window and threw a lighted device and one room was burned. In the meantime, they're showing video behind her of flames coming out the windows, of all the windows, flames shooting like two stories high.
It's like mostly peaceful protest.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, a light device?
A lighting device.
You mean like a Molotov cocktail?
Exactly, a Molotov cocktail. She had to rename it. And she said the damages were minimal. And the next scene was the church, all but the entire first floor, all boarded up. And construction had to begin there. It cost millions of dollars to repair it. But that was okay.
So clearly she's a leftist loon.
Yeah.
She looks like a leftist loon. She sounds like a leftist loon. And in my opinion, that kind of rhetoric has no place in a church. Now, she actually appeared on CNN last night because, of course, CNN's all over this, right? They want to know what she thinks about Donald Trump's criticism. I've got that audio for you straight ahead. Right before the news with Joan Jones, it is coming up at 6:30. And Joan, what is coming up at 6:30?
We'll tell you what Marco Rubio just did in his first act as Secretary of State. That's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 6:20, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. You know, my entire life, I've dealt with the hassles of glasses and contacts. And as I've gotten older, my eyesight has been getting worse and worse. Issues driving at night, reading small fonts, trying to see the computer here at work to my right. It's really frustrating, makes my job even harder, and I can't keep living like this, which is why I am so thankful that I have found Dr. Horn and the team at Vision for Life. Now, they've helped thousands take control of their vision. I'm excited now to be one of them after discussing lens replacement with Dr. Horn and how the procedure can correct both near and far vision while eliminating cataracts for good, because that's why I have cataracts. I knew that I had to take the leap. Now, stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing my journey with you every step of the way. My eyes are a mess. Like, I'm just veering away from the script. I'm okay driving. I just can't see anything. I'm having a hard time seeing the script. So I am really looking forward to my cataract surgery, my procedure with Dr. Horn. If you're dealing with the same struggles, you owe it to yourself to check out Vision for Life and see why they were voted Nashville's best ophthalmologist. Call them today. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. It's 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
628 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Donald Trump, of course, responding to that progressive radical leftist bishop who thought it would be a good idea to lecture the president. This was his response.
What did you think of this?
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
And obviously Donald Trump is right. So the bishop, Marion Edgar Buddy, was on CNN later. Aaron Burnett asked her why she chose to speak directly to Donald Trump.
They have been portrayed in all throughout the political campaign in the harshest of lights that I wanted to counter as gently as I could with a reminder of their humanity and their place in our wider community. And I was speaking to the president because I felt that he has this moment now where he feels charged and empowered to do what he feels called to do. And I wanted to say, there is room for mercy.
So I guess my question would be, when she says there's room for mercy, did Tren de Aragua or MS-13 give mercy to their victims? But here's the thing, and even Aaron Burnett agreed that Trump's response that I just played for you, for him, was rather muted.
It was a very muted response. It was a respectful response. He didn't like it. He said so. He said we could do better. Some of the other comments I've received haven't been as kind or has been as muted, shall we say. And one of the things I was trying to get across is that we can actually have these conversations in a respectful way.
It is 6:30, Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Metro Nashville police have caught up with a 16-year-old who allegedly stole a Ford F-150 in Berry Hill on Sunday. He was getting into that truck on Monday at an apartment complex in East Nashville when police spotted and arrested him. He's being charged in juvenile court now. And police are now trying to piece together whether this teenager is connected with a rash of car break-ins in East Tennessee, make that East Nashville this week. This man tells Channel 4 that his car window was smashed in and his proof of insurance and car registration were stolen.
Criminals looking to steal your identity. It can give them a lot of information and ammunition that they need to actually take advantage of you.
In December, more than 80 cars were broken into in the same area. Secretary of State Marco Rubio down to business yesterday.
We want to be at the core of how we formulate foreign policy, because we're going to have the best ideas of any agency, and because we're going to execute it better and faster and more effectively than any other agency in our government. And I know we have the right team to do it.
Now, after that speech, he ordered that any U.S. outpost in the country or abroad may fly only one flag, and that's Old Glory. Any LGBTQ pride flag or Black Lives Matter flag, they'll no longer be flown. Any State Department employee who violates that order will be terminated. And the Australian cruise line P&O Cruises has apologized to customers after a Christmas event that left some passengers horrified. The housekeeping crew dressed up as upside-down snow cones, in their words. But they used all-white costumes and they paraded through the top deck of the ship, except that they looked more like a band of KKK members.
Why would they upside-down snow cones?
Right, exactly. They had hoods on that came to a point. The cruise line says the staffers didn't realize what those costumes look like.
Yeah, but why would you?
Yeah.
What significance does an upside-down snow cone even have?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, not really clear who was thinking there or who wasn't thinking, more like.
Exactly.
Stock futures this morning all pointing up with the Dow futures up 167 points right now. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Mandis here. Appreciate you listening. 632. Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 30th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you to gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Now act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile. From home to hotspots this new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Now, don't wait and get gig speed internet, spend less green, and switch to Xfinity. Go to xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and fees extra. Internet discount applied to mobile bill. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon Fiber Gig plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Fiber Gig plus one unlimited starter line. Xfinity Internet required reduced speeds after 30 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Well, we have 24 eastbound at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass. A stalled out semi-vehicle, a semi-truck right now, and the right lane is blocked off by that. So it's stop and go at this moment from Springfield, Ashland City up to that point. Also west Nashville, Charlotte Pike at White Bridge Road, a crash. And another one involving injuries make that in Bordeaux. This is on Clarksville Pike at Rosa Parks Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Man, it is cold. Now, we're showing 8 degrees here on Music Row at the WTN studios, but we've got people chiming in. 0 degrees in Glasgow, Kentucky. We've got 3 degrees, thank you, Jim, 3 degrees in Portland, Tennessee, 5 degrees in Spring Hill. So people are like, why in the world are you guys complaining about 8 degrees? I mean, we've got like 3 degrees, 2 degrees, 1 degree.
You know what the worst part is? There's no snow or anything. It's like it's not even an enjoyable cold. There's nothing out there besides just the cold.
Listen, don't complain because Jeannie is listening in Southeast Michigan, and they got -3 in Southeast Michigan.
Well, she lives in Michigan. That's her fault.
And you have to live in Michigan, so you've got like double terrible. Although in fairness, I don't know if Southeast Michigan is nice or not. Gina's Southeast Michigan nice? I don't even know. 1349 says it's 3 degrees in Nolensville. And so it is really bad out there. So be sure and wear long pants. We're talking earlier very quickly about butt warmers in cars. And it's kind of funny because Amy told me a long time ago, I got leather seats. I wanted leather seats in my RAV4. I don't know why, but I just did. And so Amy said, just spend the couple $100 and get butt warmers. And I wouldn't do it because I'm so dang cheap. She's like, just do it. Get the butt warmers in the RAV4. And I said, nope, I want to save the $200, $250, $300, whatever it was. And now every time that it is really cold, I think about that conversation that I had with Amy. And she laughs at me. She'll actually, when it's really cold, she'll send me a text message and she'll say, I was right. You should have got the butt warmers. And you know what? She was right. Now, got a lot of stuff going on. By the way, Brian Wilson, let's see, Wednesdays with Wilson is coming up at 7 here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The J6ers, there's still apparently 7 J6ers that are still stuck in Washington, D.C.'s prison. Now, to me, that's still stunning. I don't understand why, if the president can issue an executive order, that these guys are still stuck in prison. I've got that story. But you know what? The good news is that there are many, obviously, well over 1,000, about 1,500 or so, that have been released. And out in the bitter cold, this was last night. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know. They're singing out in the cold outside of the prison. That's amazing. Now, those last 7, apparently what's going on is the legal process is still playing out for them. They're saying that local jurisdictions may be pursuing charges. I've heard that. It sounds like some of these folks, may not be totally in the clear. So that's number one. Julie Kelly, I don't know if you know who she is. She is with Real Clear Investigations. Now, she was on with Charlie Kirk, and she is talking about how there is still work to be done. We do have, again, those last 7 where they're trying to get them released, but for whatever reason, the legal process continues to play out there. But Julie Kelly says, you know, part of the conversation here has to be that the work that needs to be done is that the DOJ lawyers responsible for putting and keeping these J6ers behind bars in such wretched and horrible conditions. You got we've talked about all these folks, Matthew Graves and Lisa Monaco, Merrick Garland, of course. Listen, Joe Biden did not pardon those 3. And so maybe the new attorney general needs to start looking at, again, these DOJ lawyers that kept these folks in these wretched conditions, Matthew Graves, Lisa Monaco, and yes, the former attorney general, Merrick Garland. And here is a part of what she said. And I think that Julie Kelly, she's making a lot of sense.
This was a rogue, reckless, destructive political persecution. People have to pay for what they have done. This cannot be the last word on the travesty of the J6 defendants. Those in charge, Matthew Graves, Lisa Monaco, even Merrick Garland, have to be held accountable for the lives that they have destroyed or tried to destroy over the past 4 years under the Capitol siege prosecution.
Yeah, and meantime, you know, we're starting to hear from some of those released, including a guy by the name of Robert Morse, who had been sentenced to 5 years. He was released. And this guy drove literally from Pittsburgh all the way to Washington, D.C., to meet the guys being released.
Hasn't hit me yet, really, you know? I feel like I still have an ankle bracelet on. I got to go back anytime soon. But it's also very bittersweet because I know that these men should have been released the same time I was. And, you know, maybe it's the Army in me, but I don't like the idea of leaving anybody behind. So I knew that my responsibility was to be here. I drove 4.5 hours in the middle of the night. I haven't slept yet, so I could be here now.
So the question, why haven't those final 7 been released? Now, maybe they'll be released today. I don't know. But a pardon or commutation from an executive order seems to be the final word, right? apparently wrong.
There's innocent men being held behind prison walls, and in fact, the jail is more guilty of violating the law than the people that are there as January 6th political prisoners. So we're excited. As you can see, they're rolling out the tape, so we're hoping that that means that these guys are going to be coming out very soon, and we're hoping that, you know, we can greet these individuals as the heroes that they are, the sacrificial lambs that they are, and we're actually excited that January 6th ended in such a poetic and beautiful way that it did, because this has actually energized the MAGA movement.
You know, I actually think that it has. I will tell you that for conservatives, this has been a very unifying event, January 6th was, and how the J6ers were treated. And here's the deal. There are people that really did some bad things. And Donald Trump is being attacked. The headline on CNN, the president is defending pardoning the J6ers. I've got that audio for you. But here's the deal. When you put all of that in context with what has happened, not only, of course, in our country and blue cities all across the country, and Donald Trump's going to talk about that, but also who Joe Biden pardoned. When you start talking about the guy that shot and killed 2 FBI agents years ago, and Joe Biden pardoned that guy, and then he flies away on his helicopter after also pardoning his family, yet you've got CNN and people in the media, and they're all upset. They're pearl clutching over the J6ers being released. Donald Trump talks about why it is that he released all of those, as he is, and I'm going to air quote this, defending himself against pardoning the J6ers. What the current president has to say about that straight ahead. 6:45, time to check the roads on WTN. .645 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. As far as your weather today, it's going to warm up eventually to 32 degrees right now, 8 degrees, and we are enjoying the heat wave here in Nashville at 8 degrees because we've been receiving super texts from all across Tennessee. We've got, and Kentucky as well. And people are dealing with, 0, 1, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, and so forth. Bottom line, it is very, very cold this morning. Looking forward to the warm-up to 32 degrees. Talking about the J6ers. Now, we do have judges that have obviously been complying with the pardons and the commutations. Some have been facing charges unrelated to January 6th. This is part of what's been going on. Now, one guy is accused of sending harassing and intimidating messages to law enforcement. Now, that is not related to January 6th. Others need court orders, and here's the deal. I don't pretend to understand all of the legal maneuvering and all of the legal processes that are going on, but suffice to say that they're working on it. The Trump administration is working on it right now. Apparently, what they're saying is that there are several who had been awaiting trial or they had been awaiting sentencing. And so they haven't actually gone through the entire process yet, which, by the way, is nuts in and of itself. 4 years. 4 years later, they still have no trial. So now you've got acting U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, a guy by the name of Ed Martin, is working hard to dismiss these cases. We'll have to see what happens. But Trump was asked about a guy named Daniel Rodriguez. Now, this is somebody who the media is sort of glomming onto as someone who Donald Trump should not have pardoned. And they're demanding that the president explain himself. Why did you pardon Daniel Rodriguez, who was charged with, among other things, assaulting a police officer? And Donald Trump pardoned him. Now, this is one of the cases the media, again, will often use to show Donald Trump shouldn't be pardoning these folks because, yes, they assaulted police officers. Dan Rodriguez, he had a taser, and he tased a cop in the back of the neck, I guess. And so one of the members of the media asked Donald Trump about this.
You would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer,
Sure.
right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a DC police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this. Murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia, take a look at what's gone on in LA, where people murder people and they don't get charged. These people have already served years in prison.
I mean, he's right. So Dan Rodriguez, I guess they call him DJ, whatever, but he was part of a group who, he admits to this, of grabbing a taser and using it against a police officer. There were other charges involved as well, but, you know, this guy was sentenced to 12 and a half years. Now, the average time, just so you know, because I Googled this, the average time a person spends in prison for assaulting a police officer, 2 to 5 years. And he's already been in there for roughly, I assume, 4 years. And so Donald Trump's point, of course, is that when you look at the broader scope of what's going on in America, this guy's pardon pales in comparison to some of the folks that Joe Biden has pardoned. Or when you look at what's going on, again, in these cities, Donald Trump says, when you look at what's going on in these cities across the country, it's chaos.
I also say this, you go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers, nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also, take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give a pardon. Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals.
Yep.
These are criminals that he gave a pardon to. And you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes?
I mean, listen, Donald Trump is absolutely right. And I've got one more great, fantastic audio bite from Donald Trump coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Also, man, the BS flag is going up big time. Have you heard the latest bombshell allegations on Pete Hegseth? This is so lame, but it is coming up right before the news with Joan. Joan's coming up at 7. 6:50. Joan, what do you got coming up at 7?
Well, Nashville police have shot a man in a confrontation at a local apartment complex. We'll tell you this morning why police are saying this was justified. Also, we'll take a look at Pam Bondi and why her nomination is being held up. Those stories coming up at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 6:50. Hey, everybody. Dan Mandis here. Make 2025 the year that you get active again. Now, if you've been sidelined with chronic back, neck, and knee pain, check out my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville and Dr. Kevin Mitchell. Now, I've been a client for over 10 years, and I've never felt better. Now, I arrived in Tennessee, again, over a decade ago, almost 11 years ago, and I went through spinal decompression therapy for my chronic back pain. It really did help a lot, and every once in a while, I do need an adjustment, and Dr. Mitch, he's going to fix me right up, and he can do the same thing for you. Right now, he's got a great deal. The Wellness Institute of Nashville is offering the Big 47 offer in honor of our 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, of course. 47% off spinal decompression. That is a great deal. Now, at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they utilize the latest high-tech equipment in their state-of-the-art facility to provide effective non-surgical solutions. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are committed to helping you overcome your chronic back, neck, and knee pain. Call them today, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. You can always find them online, painisbad.com, to take advantage of the Big 47 offer. 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. And I'm Dan Mandis. I put my seal of approval on that deal.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.656 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening. So Trump, of course, is being asked about pardoning all of the J6ers or commuting the sentences of all of these J6ers. And CNN is presenting this as, oh, Trump is defending this decision. My opinion, there's nothing to defend. Let's also not forget that Joe Biden showed mercy on the 9/11 terrorists. And so, you know, Trump, he was asked about this yesterday during the big press conference.
Why did he give a pardon to the J6 Unselect Committee when they burned and destroyed all documents which showed that they did what was wrong, not me? Wait a minute. Why did they give a pardon to all of his relatives, his brother who made millions of dollars, to all these different people? He gave pardons. That's the question you should be answering. All right.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be a lot less outrage over what Joe Biden did with these, J6ers and Donald Trump pardoning them. Everybody seems to be worked up about that. I mean, very few people. I've got CNN on here because, Matt leaves it on from the afternoon show. And, they're not really mentioning a whole lot about Joe Biden's pardons. But that is true. When Trump is talking about the January 6th committee, the accusation is, just so you know, the accusation is that they did not keep or archive all of their documents and all of those videos. There's some, they will say, that were not used in the proceedings that were not archived. And isn't that the point, actually? My question would be, and I don't know, but my question would be, and there's a lot of accusations that there was material that was not used in the proceedings that could have been exculpatory evidence that was left out and that was not archived. So Donald Trump has a point. There's a lot of debate going on about that particular aspect of the January 6th committee. But the bottom line is that, in my opinion, Donald Trump has absolutely nothing to defend with the J6ers. Coming up, going to speak to Brian Wilson. It's Wednesdays with Wilson. Coming up after the news at 7, latest bombshell allegations of Pete Hegseth. We're going to cover that and a whole lot more. By the way, the Daily Dan poll is up, and today's poll, based on the news, and I covered this earlier extensively, Donald Trump and a whole bunch of billionaires have come up with I'm air quoting this, a cancer vaccine. And the question is, would you take such a vaccine? Go to YouTube and take a look at the poll. Would you take a vaccine for cancer? That's what they're calling it, a vaccine. It seems like it's more of a treatment, but whatever. Right now, what are the numbers like, KGB?
It's a dead heat between undecided and no. It's about a 4% difference. 45 undecided, 41% for no, and only 14% yes.
Okay, so go watch us on YouTube. Take the poll. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Well, hello there. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan. This morning, folks, we've got more coming up. Breaking news, though. A man has been wounded after being shot by police in the Madison area of Nashville overnight. That shooting happened about 10:30 at the Cumberland Crossing Apartments. Police spotted a stolen vehicle and approached it, and that's when one of the men emerged from the car with a gun in his hand.
The two detectives, after an interaction, fired upon this 20-year-old individual, and he was wounded, transported to Skyline Medical Center, where he is currently being treated.
Now, Madison police have also said they released the body cam footage and that the shooting is now under investigation. Well, yes, you're waking up to some serious cold weather again this morning. Channel 4 Stefano DiPietro.
Single-digit temperatures, wind chills that are near and below zero to start off the day. It's why we have this cold weather advisory, which goes until 9 a.m. Once we get past 9 a.m., the cold doesn't completely go away, but we do start to work our way out of that danger territory.
And he's calling for a high today near 33 degrees. A lot of schools have already called it off for today. Some are opening late. By all accounts, Pam Bondi did well in her Senate confirmation hearings before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
The partisanship, the weaponization will be gone. America will have one tier of justice for all.
But Senate Democrats have now put a 7-day hold on meeting again to vote on her confirmation to become U.S. Attorney General. According to a notice, this is, quote, common practice. Also, NBC is reporting that Pete Hegseth's sister-in-law has signed an affidavit that said his behavior caused his second wife to fear for her safety. However, that wife, his ex-wife, says that those allegations are not true. This would be another avenue to slow down another nominee's confirmation. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Here's Jim Ryan.
The main stock indexes reached their highest levels in more than a month Tuesday, the first full day of trading in the second Trump administration.
The Dow surged 538 points to close above 44,000 for the first time since mid-December. The S&P rose nearly 0.9%, the Nasdaq 0.6. Netflix shares soared on Tuesday after the company announced that it had added almost 19 million subscribers in its fourth quarter. New users were attracted by a mix of live sports, popular series, and special events like Beyoncé's football halftime show. Despite blockbuster earnings, Netflix disclosed that it's raising subscription prices across all tiers of its service. The wildfires burning around Los Angeles could affect used car prices in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, in fact, the rest of the country. Analysts at J.D. Power expect Californians to quickly replace their damaged or destroyed vehicles, driving up used car prices nationwide. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a stalled out semi-tractor trailer and blocking the right lane on 24 eastbound at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass. Pretty slow behind that as well this morning. Stalled out stalled out car make that blocking 2 lanes on Briley Parkway southbound before KOC Boulevard. Also a crash in West Nashville. That's on Charlotte's Pike at White Bridge Road and Clarksville Pike. Another crash involving injuries at Rosa Parks Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can download podcasts of the radio show. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook and X and Twitter and Twitch and all the different places. And one of the things that I love is the chat group over there on YouTube, where you can take our poll, as we mentioned. Would you take a cancer vaccine if supported by President Trump? It is the Daily Dan poll. But also the thing that I love about the chat group on YouTube specifically is that they've got their own, we've talked about this before, they've got their own sort of culture over there. Jennifer says in the chat group over there on YouTube, y'all quit talking about the weather, LOL. I'm out here swinging trailer doors, breaking and building sets of trailers, and yes, Jennifer is wearing multiple layers.
Of course she is.
Man, it is cold everywhere. Now, Brian Wilson is in Watertown, and he's joining us. It is Wednesdays with Wilson. Brian, how you doing?
Well, I got back here, and I thought it'd be a little warmer than it was in D.C., but it is cold. But we're doing okay. Nice drive back yesterday. Ran into some people who were actually listeners of this radio station at a Cracker Barrel in Winchester, Virginia, on the way back.
Nice.
And when I went to the counter to pay my check, it had already been picked up. Wasn't that nice?
That's very nice.
Yeah, I thought that was very nice.
Can I tell one of my favorite Brian Wilson stories?
Of course you can.
So Brian and I we were meeting with a client. I don't remember who it was, but you asked for like extra bacon or something, and you specifically asked for extra thick bacon. Do you remember that?
Extra thick, extra crispy. If you can get it, that's the way to go.
Extra thick, extra crispy bacon. And I didn't know, I'm an extra crispy kind of guy myself. Didn't know you could ask it for thicker bacon. So that's actually the best way to have it. So I actually, that taught me a new way to order bacon, extra thick and extra crispy. So
I'm so happy to have contributed to your cultural upbringing.
Sure, and my my cholesterol level. Anyway, moving right along from there. So you're what, at 4 or 5 degrees out there in Watertown?
I've got 10 degrees here in Watertown.
10 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then very good. So you had to go out to the studio, and you had to deal with the cold for about less than a minute as you went from the house up to the garage.
Well, it's a tough job. I will say this: I was getting ready to do this, and I looked up to turn on my microphone, and I realized I don't have a microphone. I had packed up all the microphones to take them to D.C., and I haven't unpacked yet. So I had to grab another microphone off the shelf real quick. But I got to tell you, it's interesting to watch. I mean, a real a flurry of activity with regard to presidential executive actions, etc. He's doing more in just a few hours than we saw Biden do in 4 years. It's astonishing how quick he's moving.
Oh, it's great. And watching the heads explode is also fun. All right, so I teased this, or I gotta cover it. Senate receives, this is the headline, and CNN is all over this, of course. Senate receives affidavit from Hegseth's former sister-in-law accusing him of being abusive towards his ex-wife. Now, nowhere in the headline on CNN do they say that the ex-wife actually says, nobody speaks for me. And it sounds like she's denying it. This isn't a bombshell, is it?
No, I don't think so. And I think it's negated by the fact that his ex-wife has said in no uncertain terms, you know what? There was no physical abuse, and that's all I'm going to say about my marriage to Pete Hegseth, period. Well, that negates anything that anybody else says. She was the one who would know first and foremost. So I think that all goes away, and it is disingenuous for the news media to report the allegation without reporting, that the wife says it didn't happen.
Well, and you and I both know that they can get away with that by, if it's print in a 14-paragraph story, putting all of these allegations, and then at the very end, they'll say the ex-wife says it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Oh, yeah, we want to give you all of the bad news up front, and then at the very end we'll tell you, but it's really not a story.
All right, so you no doubt know about this story regarding just kind of covering the news of the day. How familiar are you with the church where this bishop decided that it would be, a good idea to lecture Donald Trump at the National Prayer Service, the Washington Cathedral? I mean, have you heard this audio?
Yes, I have, and it's really quite something.
Yeah, and I mean, is this something that is typical of this particular church?
No, well, what this is the National Cathedral has become a place where you go for ecumenical services where, everybody comes in and you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different, religious leaders from various faiths, and they do it there. But I don't think it's particularly tied to this particular church. I just think that, some of the people that they invited to be a part of it decided that they were going to make it political instead of a moment of prayer for our incoming president, which is what it's supposed to be. But, but I don't really want to, I wouldn't say I would attach it to the church, but certainly you could ask questions about, well, I wonder why that particular person got invited to do this and who was responsible. Those are good questions.
Do you know what it feels like, Brian? It feels like a setup to have this Bishop Marianne Buddy, and it feels like, and it sounds like a setup because you've got Trump and J.D. Vance and everybody in there. And just for folks that are just joining us, she thought that, again, it would be a good idea to lecture Donald Trump on his policies.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families. Some who fear for their lives.
And so, I mean, I did a whole monologue on this earlier that I don't want to repeat right now, but it just, the whole thing feels like a setup.
Well, you know, I think you would have to ask who put the thing together and who sent out the invitation list for the speakers. That person may have had a political motive, one way or the other. It was completely inappropriate and not the right time or place to do it. If you want to have that conversation, this is fine. This is supposed to be a prayer for our country and for the success of the president, and to wrap your arms around our president from a religious standpoint and support him. And it was all supposed to be, you know, just this nice moment where you're there to talk about the success of the country and prayer for the success of the administration and the health of the president and all these kind of things. And she turns it into a political rant. Simply not the right place, not the right time. And I don't think it went over very well in the audience.
Brian, have you seen the video? I posted it to my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. Have you seen the video of the reaction of Melania and Donald Trump and Usha and J.D. Vance and the rest of the Trump crew, where, I mean, Melania is talking to Donald, and, you know, you can tell that they're just kind of snickering at all of this. I think that their reaction is priceless.
Just like, here we go again, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Now, here's what I want to know from you. I want to get your take on Donald Trump's initial response to the service. Here's what members of the media, they, of course, went straight to Trump to ask him what he thought of the whole thing.
What did you think of this?
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
And there you go. So, Brian, I'm going to get your reaction to what Donald Trump had to say. Coming up next, it is 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Weather today, eventually it's going to get up to 32. Right now, 8 degrees here on Music Row. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. It is Wednesdays with Wilson, Brian Wilson, joining us fresh off his amazing trip to Washington, D.C. So, Brian, talking about one of the biggest stories of the day today is this bishop that decided to lecture Donald Trump yesterday. I played you some of the audio, and this was Donald Trump's response.
Think of the service.
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
rather muted response. Now, he also sent out a social media post that I'll get to, but you know, I thought that was a pretty muted response for the president.
Yeah, you wonder about it, about why he didn't come out a little stronger there. They could, he just sort of, well, they could have done better. Yeah, well, okay. I don't know. To me, the real news and the thing to watch is all of the actions that are taking place. I mean, the border is becoming more secure by the hour. I love the fact that the president issued an order that says, hey, by 5 o'clock today, all your DEI stuff, it's got to be closed down, shut down. I don't want to hear any more about it.
Pack it up.
Yeah, that's right. And you're on leave, and we'll get back to you about your future employment status. I'm glad to see him taking such action, and I'm reading more and more about these pardons, and the thing that grabs my attention about the pardons that Biden did going out the door is that they are not really protected. The people who've been given pardons can now be called to Congress to testify, and they can't claim the Fifth Amendment because they have protection.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so they can't plead the Fifth. They have to answer the questions. If they don't answer the questions truthfully, there's a new crime that is not covered by the pardon that Biden gave them.
So do you think this will, Brian, inspire the Republicans to say, okay, you know what? We can actually call these folks in, and they've got to show up, and they've got to answer the questions?
You know, I go back and forth on this. Do we keep looking backwards, or do we try to look forward? I think there are some questions that we have the right to know. And when, you know, so many millions of people around the world died because of this virus, and there is a pretty good bit of evidence that, you know, the United States was somehow involved in gain-of-function research at a Wuhan lab, and we have never really gotten the truth about all that. Donald Trump says he's going to give us the JFK, the RFK, the MLK assassination records, and records of other things that are in public interest. These are the ones I want to see. And of course, if you want to give us some information about UFOs, I'd be very interested in that as well.
Yeah, I'm waiting for all of that information. Do you think that he would actually release the entire files, if you will, on JFK and RFK, or do you think there's going to be redactions?
Well, they will try to put redactions in, but the question is, at this point, don't you think we need to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Well, I think if accountability is something that we need to see, we as an American citizens, we are always held accountable, usually at our jobs and so forth, and our families hold us accountable. Why shouldn't the government be held accountable? We are always, there's transparency demanded of us typically, so why shouldn't we expect transparency from the people that work for us? The government.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been in big favor of releasing more. And you know, they get into a classification game in D.C., and everything is overclassified so that it doesn't come out. Not because, you know, it's sensitive, but because you would be upset if you knew about it. And that, you know, a lot of stuff gets classified for that reason.
Brian, what did you think, real quickly, I don't have a lot of time left, but what did you think about one of my favorite executive orders is the 51 intelligence officials that deemed Hunter Biden's laptop to be Russian disinfo. They've lost their security clearances. I think that is brilliant.
You know, you can't do work out. I mean, you maintain these security clearances, and it allows you to do certain work after you leave the employ of the government. If you don't have that, you get cut out of work. Listen, these people need to be held accountable because they signed a document that was absolutely 1,000% a lie about Donald Trump and about the Russian collusion and all of that. And I'm fine with settling this particular score. I'm not big on settling scores, but I liked this one a lot.
Well, and somebody like John Bolton and some of these other folks, John Brennan, you know, they make money off of being analysts on, you know, CNN or what have you. And if they don't have their security clearance, that means that they can't necessarily do those jobs to their full capacity. We'll see if it does have an impact. Brian, as always, great to have you on. Wilson Wednesdays, thank you for the last couple of days with the outstanding coverage of the inauguration.
You're welcome, absolutely. Yeah.
And we'll talk to you again next Wednesday. It is 7:21 on Nashville's Morning News, and Joan Jones has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan, what you got?
Hey, got a heat pump? Well, some advice for how to fine-tune it for this super cold weather. Also, another Biden-era refugee program gets nixed by President Trump. Those stories coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, it's great, Joan. It's like I'm having a hard time keeping up with all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. Brian mentioned dropping the DEI. You've got like till the end of the day to clear out.
Yep.
I mean, I love that.
Yeah, there's so much happening. There's so much winning going on. Yeah.
Do you think it would be, did we do this? I know we took calls yesterday. I forget what it was. But I'm curious, did we do this? What is your favorite executive order?
I don't know, but if we did it yesterday, there were so many that were handed down yesterday and today that we could do it again.
I'm just having a hard time, again, I'm having a hard time keeping up. Thank you, Joan.
Yeah.
7:22 on Nashville's Morning News. If somebody wants to send in what is your favorite executive order so far from Donald Trump, then send it into the Super Text line. It is open, 615-737-9986. Dan Mandis here. You know, I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate here in Nashville because I trust that they're going to sell your home hassle-free with a strong all-cash offer. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years now, and they've served over 58,000 families. And with all of those clients, Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 12,500 five-star reviews. That is huge. Now, you can trust my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast and for maximum profit and the least amount of hassle. That is the guaranteed offer. You know, the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends have consistently named Mark Spain Real Estate as the top real estate team in America for 8 years in a row, including being ranked at #1 in the nation for closed transactions 5 years in a row. There's a reason they've got so much success. It is that guaranteed offer, a quick sale and maximum profit. So get your guaranteed offer on your home today, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, online anytime at markspain.com, and start packing. 728, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You heard Brian and I talking about this. I love this. Layoffs loom as Trump administration orders federal DEI workers on leave. And he just sends out a notification ordering federal diversity, equity, and inclusion employees to be placed on leave no later than Wednesday, which is today.
5 o'clock today. They'll
5
have
o'clock today.
everything packed up in a box and heading for the door.
DEI office. So the great thing is he's ordering like federal employees back to work. Unless you're
Right.
DEI, you've got to leave. He did it by memo, sent Tuesday by the Office of Personnel Management. The directive, they say, will eventually lead to these employees being laid off or reassigned, and followed executive orders on Monday in which Trump directed an end to what he called radical and wasteful federal government DEI programs. Love it. Not my favorite. I'm bad. Do you have a favorite, Joan? Do you like KGB? We should all go through our favorite executive order so far.
Yeah.
The three of us. And send yours in 615-737-9986. Also, you can chime in on the YouTube chat. News with Joan Jones is coming up right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 7:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Hope you're ready for it. Single-digit temperatures have led to a cold weather advisory for this morning. It exists until 9 o'clock. Now, some places could see temperatures even dip below zero. This technician from Heller HVAC tells Channel 4 that heat pump systems may not be ready for this brand of cold.
Emergency heat. Anything under 35 is what we recommend. Just turn it into emergency heat and run those heat strips. Gas furnaces, usually they're pretty good about anything, and just regular maintenance.
Now, we'll get a little milder around here by Thursday afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, and we've got more in your forecast still to come here. Police in Franklin have released surveillance video showing a group of teenagers ramming their car repeatedly into the shop window of the Arms and Ammo store on Beasley Drive in the early morning hours Monday. Those kids were hoping to get their hands on the guns and ammo inside, but they weren't successful. They were arrested later. Now police are telling us that the 5 teenagers ranged in age between 13 and 15 years old.
It is concerning. I mean, only they endanger themselves, but other people driving on the roads. Again, I wonder where the parents are at that time. These kids are our future. Of course, it's concerning.
The teens are facing charges today. The gun shop has reopened. Well, there is news this morning that the State Department has canceled the scheduled flights of refugees from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Now, these are foreigners who were scheduled to come to the U.S. under a Biden-era program that brought hundreds of thousands of refugees here. According to an order from President Trump, no new travel bookings should be made, and processing for these refugees has been canceled. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
7:32, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, my entire life, I've dealt with the hassles of glasses and contacts. And as I've gotten older, my eyesight has been getting worse and worse. People making fun of me on the chat all the time because I'm always squinting. Well, that's going to change very soon. I've had issues driving at night, reading small fonts and halos around lights, having difficulty seeing my broadcast copy, having difficulty seeing the computer as well. Well, I'm really thankful now that I found Dr. Horn and the team at Vision for Life. They've helped thousands take control of their vision, and I'm excited to be one of them. Now, after discussing lens replacement with Dr. Horn and how that procedure can correct both near and far vision while eliminating cataracts for good, I knew that I had to take the leap because that's what I have. I've got cataracts, and it feels like it happened so quickly. But listen, stay tuned, as I'm going to be sharing my journey with you every step of the way. If you're dealing with the same struggles, you owe it to yourself to check out Vision for Life and see why they have been voted as Nashville's best ophthalmologist. Call them today, 615-436-2020. They can help you just like they're helping me. 615-436-2020. Online anytime, visionforlife.com.
Got a problem this morning on, on 65 in the eastbound side, just past Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. It's a crash blocking the right shoulder. Another eastbound 24 at the Antioch Pike overpass. The right shoulder also blocked off there. Stalled out a semi-tractor trailer blocking the right lane. 24 eastbound lanes at the McMahon Hollow Road overpass. An injury crash on 40 eastbound lanes before Bellevue Highway. Also this morning, Murfreesboro Pike, a crash near Thompson Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:35, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof. Now, this means that the insurance company is going to depreciate how much they pay for your roof claim. Now, if you've got an older roof, that means that they're going to pay you less, and that's going to leave you on the hook literally for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 10-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they will pay for it to be replaced, period. Now, does that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around? 615-329-8121. 615-329-8121. Get your royal review. tkinginsurance.com. .37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so we've all had a few moments to cogitate. What is our favorite Donald Trump executive order? People chiming in, a lot of people on the super text line at 615-737-9986. 4511 says getting rid of birthright citizenship, which, by the way, that is going to go through all kinds of legal challenges. And a lot of these things are going to go through the legal challenges. Other people saying that the end of the DEI employees and their involvement with the federal government, the end of the DEI programs, ordering them out by 5 o'clock today is other people, and that is their favorite executive order. Joan, what's yours?
I don't know. So I'm looking at the ones that came down today. This wasn't by President Trump, I guess. This was Marco Rubio saying that the flags now at any outpost, at any State Department outpost in the U.S. or abroad needs to be only the American flag. No more pride flags, no more BLM flags, none of that stuff.
Love it.
Yeah. So that's really symbolic. But also the one, so we just talked about this one in the news about President Trump saying now that the refugees can't fly over the border and land in the U.S. and be taken into the country.
Yeah, that's that parole program that Joe Biden absolutely abused, horrifically abused. Hundreds of thousands of people, not even properly vetted, not even telling the local cities that they were coming. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
All right. KGB, what about you? By the way, 3257. Favorite executive order, borders closed. Somebody asking me to explain the tax for child support payers. I don't know about that one. Maybe I'll do some research on that.
I see someone in the chat as well saying backing out of the climate accords.
Backing out of the climate accords.
Yeah, that's another good one.
That's good. What are and I want to know yours, KGB. I'll tell mine. Then I need to know what people are saying on the YouTube chat.
Yeah, so I see mine is the energy environment executive orders where he's getting drilling back and just making more energy independence, like expediting Biden's deregulation of drilling. That's probably one, because I know that's going to lead to cheaper gas.
That's going to lead to cheaper everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So my gas station next to my apartment, which I always use, that I don't want to, but it's just convenient. It's like $3.30 still a gallon.
Yeah.
But then I see near more down in Millington County, you'll see more like $2.80 something, and hopefully we can get all that back into under $3 soon.
Let's see here. Justin says, my favorite executive order is the one making Nashville's Morning News the official morning news show of the United States.
How much do you pay him to say that?
I didn't pay him nothing.
Mm-hmm. I don't buy it.
Thank you, Justin. I totally agree. on that. If you could work on that with Trump, that'd be great.
Your pom-poms will be in the mail anytime soon now.
Yeah. And your free Dr. Horn gift certificate.
Sure. I'm having a hard time coming up with my favorite executive order because you've got the J6ers, you've got the closing of the border, and I just keep going back to to me, there's a special place in you-know-where for those 51 intelligence people who like, because realize, if it wasn't for them, it is quite possible that we never would have had 4 years of Joe Biden.
Yes.
So how do you possibly choose? It's like choosing, amongst your children. I don't know. They're all my favorite. Just saying.
It's like Sophie's Choice for you, in a sense.
That's exactly what it is. Anyway.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so everybody's chiming in. So if you want to chime in, go ahead. I'm having a hard time keeping up with everybody. By the way, very quickly, 7:41. I can do this again. So a lot of controversy over this reaction to this cancer vaccine that Donald Trump is endorsing. And so there's a lot of controversy to this. I want you to listen to my segment here, and then I want you to take the poll on our YouTube page. You go to YouTube, it's the Daily Dan poll, and you can see us, of course, which is no great thrill. But you can take the Daily Dan poll, which I believe, unless it's Joan, then you can take the Daily Dan poll, which from what I understand is thrilling for all involved. And today's question is exactly?
It is, would you take a cancer vaccine if supported by President Trump? And it is the closest we've ever had in a poll.
Really?
Yes. And also, this does help, like, our algorithm and stuff like that. Like the video is, like the stream as well.
Yeah.
While you do this, because it will get us more notice in that.
But, throw us a bone. Would you like the whatever so that we can get the whatevers?
We only have one like on the stream, but we have way more, like 50,000 times more votes than we have likes. So please, let's even that out.
Yes.
But right now it's 40. It was at one point it was 43 even between no and undecided. No has taken the lead at 45%. No, 42% undecided, and only 12% say yes.
See, I think that's the story. Only 12% saying yes.
Yep.
It's been ruined for us.
Oh, it went up to 13.
We do not trust the medical community anymore.
No, we don't.
The CDC, forget about it.
It's more Fauci, I think. Fauci is like the end all. Like he is the.
But he poisoned the entire pond.
Well, it started with the AIDS. Remember, like he botched that too.
Yeah.
Like he said that was airborne.
Have you ever seen? There's a Netflix thing on Anthony Fauci.
Oh my
I can't remember the name.
It's just called Fauci.
Is it just called Fauci?
I think it's just called Fauci.
I watched that a couple weeks ago, and I mean, if you wanna feed your Fauci hate, go to Netflix and watch the documentary on Anthony Fauci. And I mean, what Brian said about all these pardons means that we can bring these people in, whether we're talking about Biden's family, whether we're talking about Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, the J6 committee members. They're no longer protected. They can't, they can't claim the fifth. They can't plead the fifth. So I say bring him in. If we're going to continue on with investigations, why not? Now, Donald Trump, what the heck are we all talking about? If you're just joining us, Donald Trump is looking to cure cancer with a vaccine. It's all part of this $500 billion private sector initiative put together by President Trump to develop artificial intelligence infrastructure. I've got the full story straight ahead, 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, very good. As far as your weather today, a high of 32. And right now we've got 8 degrees here in Music City, and those naked statues are really begging for a jacket. Here's what Donald Trump had to say about Stargate.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
All right, so you've got Sam Altman with OpenAI, Larry Ellison with Oracle, and of course they have operations. Oracle has operations here in Nashville, and SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son. Now, what they're doing, they're combining, and they're looking at opening up large data centers in Texas, maybe even in Tennessee, who knows? But that's what they're looking to do. Private entrepreneurs, private companies, combining $500 billion investment in creating this artificial intelligence infrastructure. And as Donald Trump and Republicans have been saying for a long time, why are we allowing China to take the lead on this? So on the surface, I love what they're doing. I do. But then they started talking about this curing cancer with a vaccine?
All of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person.
All right, so that is Larry Ellison. So immediately, as you can imagine, because I did, I know Joan did, is that people are screaming, saying, this is crazy, that we simply cannot trust the vaccines. We certainly can't trust the pharmaceutical companies, and we can't trust the vaccine peddlers. And that people are crazy for even thinking about doing this. I mean, didn't we all learn, of course, from the negative impacts of COVID? Now, I said it earlier in the show, and I'm saying it now, there is a distinction between the COVID vaccines and this, is that it will not be mandatory. But they can compel you if they want to. They can even tell you, this is what some people are worried about, they can tell you that you're not going to get your cancer treatments, the ones that you need to stay alive, unless you took or take this vaccine. And insurance can possibly play a role as well. So nobody's, sort of from a governmental standpoint, nobody is mandating this vaccine like they did with COVID. But again, you can be compelled if they so choose, whether it's the insurance companies or whoever. But here's the interesting thing, is that if you have a deadly cancer and it's like, I'm going to die, then what have you got to lose, right? But if you listen to Larry Ellison in the audio that I just played, he's simply talking about if you have indications of cancer in your bloodstream, then they can create, using artificial intelligence, sort of like a personalized vaccine just for you. And so we could try to make the distinction between, well, is this a vaccine or is it a treatment? I guess it kind of depends on how you look at it. Here's more from Larry Ellison.
So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
So this $500 billion artificial intelligence infrastructure that these three billionaires and Donald Trump are talking about, it's not only about this cancer vaccine, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, there's a whole plethora of things that they're talking about. Data centers, major data centers all across the country. Tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow, I've got Governor Bill Lee on. One of the things that I'm going to ask him is, okay, so is it possible that we here in Tennessee could have one of these major data centers? Because we already know that Larry Ellison and Oracle, they have a footprint here in Nashville. And so that would be an opportunity to create jobs here. But this is more than just about the cancer vaccine, but this is what everybody is focusing on, including Dr. Peter McCullough. Now, he is a doctor whose mission is medical freedom, and man, does he have an opinion on this. Coming up before the news with Joan Jones at 8, I'm going to play you what Dr. Peter McCullough has to say about all this, because he is brutally honest about what he thinks, and I'm going to play that audio for you. Coming up on Super Talk 99.7 at 7:50. Joan, what is coming up in the news at 8?
Well, the investigation is being launched now into an officer-involved shooting in Madison took place last night. And we've got the list of Tennessee J6ers who've been sprung from prison with President Trump's pardon. Those stories coming up at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here for the Glock Store. Now, this is my Glock Store. It is where I train, and it is where I need to go more often here in 2025, but you should too. Now, you know, at the Glock Store, they've got private shooting rooms and personal instructors, not multiple lanes and some stranger shooting next to you. Now, here's an exciting 2025 New Year, New Deal just for you. All month long here in January, and listen, January is going to be done before you know it, so you've got to take advantage of this deal. All month long, you can book a shooting session at shoot270.com. You mention my name, and you get to shoot a gun that I recently shot. A World War II submachine gun. They're called a Sten, and I'd never heard of it before, but this is an incredible weapon, and it's from World War II. It's a submachine gun. And so I went down to the Glock Store, and I shot it. They put together a video. You can find the video at shoot270.com of me firing this World War II submachine gun. Again, it's called a Sten. It's an amazing experience. So you book that shooting session, then you mention my name. They are going to let you fire that same weapon. Now, I've gone through all the incredible personal training at the Glock Store. I'll never go back to the single-lane ranges again. The incredible, incomparable shoot270.com, only in Nashville and only at my place to train. The Glock Store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere, shoot270.com. 7:56, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Man, what a response to this story of this cancer vaccine. Lena at Red Pilled Moms Club, of course, says, I'm pretty sure there was a movie about all this, and it did not end well. That was I Am Legend, right?
It was.
Yeah.
I told you about that off air, too. That's funny.
Great movie. Another one, 4702, and I didn't know this, but 4702 says they're still not telling you that everyone has cancer cells in their bloodstreams. It's going to be a mandatory thing with insurance. 4702 says that I owed, he says, $3 million after his wife died of cancer. Oh, my Lord.
Whoa.
I don't know how you deal with not only the grief of losing your loved one, but also owing $3 million. So 4702, prayers for you. I didn't know. Do people actually have cancer cells in their body all the time? And it's just, if it somehow it's triggered. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is going on over there?
I don't know. Like,
I thought it was Joan behind me for a second.
No.
No,
it is not.
We share a wall with one of the other radio stations, and good Lord, it sounds like they're riding bulls in there. Anyway, moving right along. I don't know if that was picked up by the microphone. I apologize. What does Peter McCullough think about all of this? Because it is interesting what he has to say, because Peter McCullough, again, medical freedom and all that, and he says, this isn't good.
Oncologists are only allowed to offer you expensive drugs, expensive chemotherapy, expensive immunotherapy, sometimes costing tens of or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I can tell you, these mRNA cancer vaccines, which they're going to be pushing, that Moderna is working on already with phase 3 trials in the UK and Australia, these mRNA cancer vaccines, you know what the cost is attached to these things? It's about $500,000 per treatment.
What he said, $500,000. And so the question is this, number one, is it a money grab? Is this a way for the pharmaceutical companies to get the insurance companies to pay massive amounts of money? Could the insurance companies compel you or mandate you to take this? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. One of the other things that Peter McCullough says is that these things are going through the trials right now, and the vaccines, they're simply not working.
And they're going to be calling it a cancer cure. They'll probably be combining it with some established cancer drugs just to make the mRNA look better, or probably make it look like it works, because I don't think it does work.
Wow.
In all the clinical trials that I've seen so far, they're talking about 10% improvement or 20% improvement. This stuff doesn't work. So they're going to try to polish it up to make it look like it works, and they're going to attach a $500,000 price tag to it.
All right. So what do you think? You're going to take this thing, the vaccine for cancer? A lot of people are saying that just simply by using the term vaccine as opposed to a treatment, that they're losing a lot of people.
Yep.
A lot of people also saying, and by the way, take our poll, YouTube page, go to YouTube, 997WTN.com, and our question of the day, the Dan poll of the day, Daily Dan poll, is would you take a cancer vaccine, because that's what they're calling it, if it was supported by President Donald Trump? And so far, it's a big old no. What's the...
Well, it's a dead heat. 44% no, 43% undecided, and only 14% yes.
There you go. And everybody wants to know, from the super text line, everybody wants to know, what does RFK Jr. think about all this? Got a lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And he's going to restore the trust of the...
Good morning. It's now 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. This is the coldest air of the season, but Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro is telling us this is not going to last much longer.
Most of us in the single digits with wind chills that will get very close to zero in some areas, if not just below, as we head through the remainder of our morning. But the rest of your first alert forecast, we start to turn things around today. Call it a warm-up, call whatever you would like. We are going to get back to at least near freezing today, thanks to that wind direction, which is changing this afternoon. coming more from the south and the southwest.
Right now it's 11 degrees here in Nashville, so we just need to hang on a little bit longer. This is going to get better. Metro Nashville police releasing the body cam footage from a shooting at the Cumberland Crossing Apartments in Madison last night. Channel 4's Joan Bukovic tells us that 2 officers spotted a stolen vehicle and approached it at about 10:30 last night with 2 men inside that car.
Metro police say the suspect got out of the car and walked towards an apartment. When they yelled for him, police say he turned around with a gun in hand. Investigators say shots were fired after a confrontation with detectives. Body camera footage shows the suspect getting shot shortly after the body camera is turned on.
Now, that suspect was wounded. It's not clear if police were able to arrest the second suspect. At a White House event last night where he took questions from reporters on his first full day of his second term, President Trump was grilled about his decision to pardon January 6th rioters.
President Trump said he found their sentences excessive.
These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing.
Several Tennesseans who were serving time have been released in connection to the pardons and commutations, including the zip tie guy, 32-year-old Eric Mungel of Nashville, 29-year-old Ronald Maccabee of Unionville, 43-year-old Joseph Jose Lino Padilla of Cleveland, and Michael N. Asbury of Knoxville. Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Now, President Trump has also ordered the federal government to get rid of all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and put all the officials who lead DEI on leave with pay. In a memo to the Office of Personnel Management, Trump said that DEI programs have divided Americans by race, wasted taxpayer dollars, and resulted in shameful discrimination. The DEI employees will be shown the door by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Market Numbers Report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. About a half hour to go before the opening bell. The Dow futures are plus 145 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 221. S&P futures, they're up 34 points. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. It's an accident 24, the westbound lanes at Harding Place, exit 56, and it's backed up from exit 62 up to that spot. The right lane there is blocked off. A crash involving injuries on Murfreesboro Pike near Thompson Lane. And by the way, that crash involves 3 vehicles. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in, along with Joan Jones, KGB, Jeff Malinoff. Producing today, and yes, my name is Dan Mandis. Lonnie Spivak, our old friend Lonnie, is with us. And Lonnie, of course, as folks know, you are chairman of the mighty GOP Nashville. And are you a lonely bunch, the Republicans in the city of Nashville?
You know, sometimes it feels that way, Dan, but I'm happy to say we've really been making good strides over the last couple of years, and with the election of Donald Trump, I think there's only upward momentum for us from here.
Well, now let me ask you, because we're having a little bit of fun today, Lonnie, then we'll get down to business. But what is your favorite Donald Trump executive order? Do you have one?
I mean, it's very close. I mean, it's like, is it the southern border? But I really think right now my favorite is how President Trump is ripping DEI out by the roots right now. I mean, I don't know if you saw the order today, but they're basically ordering all DEI closed and all the employees placed on paid leave while they figure out how to shut those things down.
They got to hit the road is what they need to do. They got to be out by 5 o'clock this afternoon. And, you know, DEI and that kind of stuff, it really is pernicious. And so I love that one. It's hard, as I said earlier, Lonnie, that it's difficult to narrow it down to just one. You know, they're like my children. I love them all.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Oh, I like, but
that's exactly right.
I was happy to see the J6ers get released. I talked to Stuart Parks via text after the announcement, and he's expecting his documents, I think, today.
Now, is he actually out yet? Is Stuart actually out?
He's been out of jail for several months now.
Okay.
Yeah, he did his time. I don't remember what prison he said he was in. He did his time, but he's back in Nashville. He's just a great young man.
That was I don't want to get sidetracked, but I mean, he got railroaded. Like, if there is ever a case of government just coming down hard on somebody who didn't need to be persecuted the way that he does, it is Stuart Parks.
And I think that's probably most of the people who are persecuted for J6. Yep. His is just one story of many. And I'm happy to see that President Trump pardoned everyone involved.
Absolutely. Now, Lonnie Spivak is joining us, chairman of GOP here in Nashville. So that means the Republicans in Davidson County in Nashville, and you're, the Republicans, an organization. And so
right.
It is now
in Tennessee, we kind of have the state party,
yes,
which is kind of the big umbrella. Mm-hmm. And then every county has its own Republican party that works to organize the county for the state. And so every 2 years on off-year elections, every county in the state needs to have new elections to vote new leadership. And that's what we've got going on February 1st.
All right, so I got to ask a couple of questions. Number one is how many members in your organization?
Well, you don't. There's no like really you don't really have to pay to be a member.
Right.
We do have dues, but those are donations for us to be able to support candidates. So we're estimating in Davidson County there are about 200,000 Republicans, and those are the ones that we're asking to get involved with us.
All right. So and you need members, and your term as chairman is up. So
yeah, I decided not to run again as chairman. When I ran 2 years ago, I had told everybody I was just going to do it for one term. I did my term. I feel like we made great progress.
You've paid
over
your
the last
dues,
couple of
Lonnie.
years.
You won out. You don't want to be called Mr. Chairman anymore.
We helped elect 3 congressmen from Davidson County. We've got 3 conservative Metro Council members, and now it's time for the next crew to come up and work on registering more voters and getting some school boards and other seats elected. So,
all right, so
I'll be remaining on the board to just help as an advisor and help raise some money, but I'm really looking forward towards the next crew, and that's what we've got going on February 1st at the Millennium Maxwell House. The doors will open at 8:30. And what we're asking is, now that we have, President Trump in office, it's time for everyone in Nashville to help elect the new executive committee for the Davidson County Republican Party. Even if you're interested in getting involved and you're like, hey, I really feel like I can get involved and I have something to add, you can run for an office like a regional vice chair, or if you're really good at communications, there's an office for communications secretary, and there are various committees. So there's tons of ways to get involved, and now's the time to do it because we've got momentum on our side.
Well, you are right, and I think that I mean, I don't know how your numbers look, but I can imagine that for a lot of these blue cities across the country, more and more people did vote for Donald Trump in the last election, and he does have momentum on his side. So you need to replace the entire crew, is what you're saying.
We have some members who are currently on the executive committee that are going to run again, and we have one person so far who's announced that they're going to run for chairman, and he's the guy I've been supporting. He's currently my first vice chair. His name's Jason Weekly. But that's open. If someone is interested in being chairman of the Davidson County Republican Party or GOP Nashville, you have to submit your name to the credentials committee by Friday afternoon or Friday morning, I think is the deadline. But we have officers that'll get elected that day will be the chairman, the first and second vice chair. We'll have a treasurer, a vice treasurer, a recording secretary, a corresponding secretary, and then 7 regional vice chairs. And
now, these are all volunteer positions, or is there pay?
No, they're all volunteer, but it's a labor of love. Over the last couple of years, I'd say we raised probably $100,000, and we funded, some great candidates, Wyatt Rampey and others, and, we did our own communications to help get those guys elected. We had boots on the ground, and it really is just going to take continued investment in the county party if we want to see continued growth and starting to pick off some of those blue seats. And so that's what we're just asking for. We meet one day out of the month, and then there's some committee meetings that'll meet. But it's a lot of fun, and it's really an opportunity to make a difference in your community with not a ton of effort.
Lonnie, hold on one sec. We got to check the roads. Got a couple of more questions for you. Number one, I'm assuming you have to live in Nashville in Davidson County. But hold on. It is 8:15, time to check the roads on WTN. All right, 8:15, weather today, a high of 32. We're up to 10 degrees now. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So speaking with Lonnie Spivak, current chairman of GOP Nashville, the Republican Party in Nashville. And, they're every couple of years, they have to reorganize. They've got to replenish their ranks there. And that is coming up on February 1st. So to fill some of these positions, Lonnie, I feel like it's a dumb question, but whatever. You have to live in Nashville?
Yes, you have to be a resident of Davidson County. And then in order to be elected to the executive committee, the state's made it a little more difficult on us. You have to have voted Republican in 3 out of the last 4 statewide primaries. And so when you go to just GOPNashville.org, there's a little events tab that'll let you pre-register, and then the vetting committee will check your voting history, make sure that you're qualified. You don't have to be 3 out of 4 to attend. You have to be 3 out of 4 to vote. You have to be 3 out of 4 to run for office. But if you're running for chairman, you need to be a 4 out of 4. So you will have had to vote Republican in every election.
Lonnie, I'm really curious. So have you run into people that want to become involved in the GOP in Nashville and they have not voted Republican 3 out of the 4 times?
Yeah, actually, we ran against that. If you remember, Baxter Lee, who ran for Congress, had voted for Hillary Clinton in the Operation Chaos, and that prevented him from running for Congress. And and in Davidson County, it's very hard. If you're a lawyer and you want to vote for judge, do you think there's going to be a Republican judge elected in Nashville right now? And so there are a lot of people who are in the legal field who will pull a Democrat ballot because they want to have some say in the judges they sit in front of. And so they'll have to, so the way it is now, they're not eligible to participate.
Okay.
I've been lobbying the state to change that, but right now they're making it very difficult.
All right. So, Lonnie, I've got like 90 seconds left. So what do people need to know?
What you really need to do is go to GOPNashville.org, click on the reorganization event, just register. We'll get you qualified to participate, and just come out. We'll be there for about 3 hours. It's a lot of fun. We should have, I think, every congressman's supposed to be there. You never know who's going to show up. There may be a radio personality or 2 who pops in.
Oh, look at that.
But it's a lot of fun, and you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to get involved with the Republican Party. And
I bet you Murphy Show would show up to this thing. Is that who you're talking about, Murphy Show?
I'm not obligating Matt Murphy to show up, but he might.
Okay. You know what? Make him bring the donuts. That's what you need to do. He's got to bring the coffee in the lukewarm coffee and the donuts.
Well, the Maxwell House won't let us do that, but
but we
interesting.
will have coffee and,
okay. Yeah.
Well, listen, Lonnie, good luck.
It'll be a great time.
What's the website?
GOPNashville.org.
All right, GOPNashville.org. Lonnie, good luck to you, and thanks for what you're doing for spreading the word of conservatism in Nashville. I know that. In Davidson County, man, you're probably falling on a lot of deaf ears, but you're doing great work, and appreciate you joining us here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 8:19 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That has to be tough. Living in Nashville and being a conservative, being a Republican. I would think that if you were a conservative and you're living in Nashville, wouldn't you want to move? Like, could you actually live in I couldn't. I could not live in Nashville.
I couldn't live in the downtown area, but like outside of it, I could make it work. Like
I could live in Old Hickory.
Bellevue's pretty nice too.
Yeah, that's true. Bellevue's nice.
Yeah, but
and here in downtown, they've got really nice apartment buildings.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people this: if you're gonna move over here, I'm like, if you see 65, anything on the left is good. Avoid the right of 65. That's always my advice.
That's the only time that you avoid the right.
Yes.
Is when you're
precisely
driving on the whatever. Hey, Joan. You've got news coming up at 8:30. What you got coming up?
Why, I do. Well, he is 16 years old and busted for stealing a car, and now Police want to know if he's behind the sharp rise of break-ins in East Nashville. Also, one of the first orders from our new Secretary of State. We'll bring that to you coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:20, Nashville's Morning News, and Dan Mandis here. Homeowners, it is time to start fresh here in 2025. Dan Mandis here, and always appreciate my friends at Loan Pronto. Now, what could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? Now, if you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Now, Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home's equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and virtually and really often no appraisal. Now, one client got $150,000 and paid off all their credit cards, a couple of car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. That is huge. Now, the average homeowner right now has over $300,000 in equity. That is your money, so you should use it. You should put it to work for you. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act right now, and there's no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com is the website, 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. Get the money you need for anything. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject lender approval. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
8:25, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Back in about 60 seconds or so, we have big news from my friends at DT McCall's. Now, if you've been thinking about buying a gun safe, but you've been putting it off, listen, you've got to go to DT McCall's because right now, these gun safes are sales tax free at DT McCall's. So, you know, they're the largest Liberty Safe dealer in the state of Tennessee. I've been telling you about DT McCall's for years. A great company, a great family that you can trust. Now, free delivery and free setup. That's one of the reasons why DT McCall's is the largest Liberty Safe dealer in the state of Tennessee. Other places going to charge you at least $500 for delivery and setup in bigger models and $300 in smaller models. But at DT McCall's, they deliver every safe for free every time, period. No setup charges either. So, save some big bucks right now on your Liberty gun safe when you shop at your local DT McCall's. Find them online. It is dtmccalls.com. For locations and information, tell them Dan told you to reach out. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. $8:27, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Is this breaking news? Headline from the folks at Fox News. Department of Justice to investigate state or local officials who obstruct immigration enforcement.
That's my news coming up. Thanks a lot, bud.
You're welcome, Joan. Is there anything else I can do for you? I'm right here for you.
Yeah.
This just came down.
Yeah, it did.
Gotta love Pam Bondi. She's not.
Well, she's not there yet.
Oh, I know. She's not. I know.
Okay.
You are hurting the star of the show, Dan. How dare you?
How dare you?
The Justice Department wants federal prosecutors across the country to investigate state or local officials who obstruct immigration enforcement under President Trump's new administration, according to a new memo obtained by Fox News. I mean, listen, they're out there saying that they are going to obstruct or try to block Donald Trump from doing his job and fulfilling one of his big election promises, one of his big campaign promises. So, yeah, I think that they do. This is what the memo says, real quickly. The Justice Department must and will work to eradicate threats of illegal immigration, acting Deputy Attorney General
Emil Bove.
Emil Bove, thank you. Trump's former defense attorney wrote in the memo, indeed, it is the responsibility of the Justice Department to defend the Constitution and accordingly to lawfully execute the policies that the American people elected President Donald Trump to implement. There you go. You know, here's the thing. If they're going to, all of these local officials, whether it's, local, I don't know, who would it be, city councils and mayors and that kind of thing, if they're going to actively and very proudly say that they're going to try to block Tom Homan and Donald Trump from doing this, then you know what? Donald Trump and Tom Homan and the DOJ, they should be equally as proud and equally as vocal and saying, you know what? If you try to block us from doing our job, we're coming after the illegals and you. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It is 8:30 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And Metro Nashville police caught up with a 16-year-old who allegedly stole a Ford F-150 in Berry Hill on Sunday. Now, he was getting into that truck on Monday at an apartment complex in East Nashville when police spotted him and arrested him. He's being charged in juvenile court. But now police are trying to piece together whether this teenager is connected with a rash of car break-ins in East Tennessee this week. Make that East Nashville this week. This man tells Channel 4 that his car window was smashed in and his proof of insurance and car registration were stolen.
Criminals looking to steal your identity. It can give them a lot of information and ammunition that they need to actually take advantage of you.
In December, more than 80 cars were broken into in that same area. 2 people hospitalized now after a car collided with a WeGo bus at Clarksville Pike and Rosa Parks Boulevard early this morning. One of the people transported to the hospital was a juvenile who had been on that bus. The crash happened around 6 o'clock this morning, which is just when the traffic lights at that intersection changed from flashing yellow to normal operation. Secretary of State Marco Rubio down to business yesterday.
We want to be at the core of how we formulate foreign policy, because we're going to have the best ideas of any agency, and because we're going to execute it better and faster and more effectively than any other agency in our government. And I know we have the right team to do it.
And then after that speech, he ordered that any U.S. outpost in the country or abroad fly only one flag, and that would be the American flag. Any LGBT pride flags or Black Lives Matter flags, they're no longer going to be flown. Any State Department employee who violates that order will be terminated, he said. Market Numbers Report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Opening bell has rung, and the Dow Jones Industrials are up 117 points right now. NASDAQ gaining 192 points. S&P 500 index, that's up 32. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:32, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here for Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They are your Rude Pro partner, and they're my partner as well. I've been working with these folks for over a decade. Now, Busy Bee is always looking for ways to save you money. And right now, in a very cold January, they've got some red hot deals. Get a free air duct cleaning with a purchase of a new complete whole home AC, or get a free air duct cleaning package upgrade. So you buy the middle package, you are automatically upgraded to the deluxe. And they're also offering you 15% off indoor air quality products. Save money and stay warm this January with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Your satisfaction, of course, is guaranteed. Become a Beehive member like I've been for many, many years. Find them online, busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833. Tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com.
So in West Nashville, 46th Avenue North at Alabama Avenue, that's a crash involving some injuries reported by police. Looks like it's pretty slow this morning on 65 heading into Nashville. Maybe just some volume delays there. Same thing for 40. That's looking slow. And 65 heading southbound, right at that merge there with 24. You've got some slowdown in that area as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.836, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into the Cross. Chris Hand literally plugging in, just getting here. Jeff Malinoff is here, KGB. Joan Jones is here as well, apparently the real star of the show. And Chris Hand is here as well, the star of the Cross. Hello, Chris.
What's up? I had a fun night last night.
You did?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I hung out with the Republican women of Rutherford County. They invited me to speak at their little meeting.
Are they all as hot as the national Republican women?
Hotter, way hotter.
Whoa.
No, they were awesome. We had so much fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you talk about?
Well, I got asked all the usual questions.
Like?
Like, has Murphy cut his hair yet? What's happened to Michael Del Giorno? Does Dan really take bubble baths?
Wow. Okay, very good. Very good.
I'm more concerned why they want to know that.
Everybody wants to know every time.
Do you know what I missed? The other day, did you know this, Joan? The other day was Bubble Bath Day, and I completely missed it.
You missed that?
I missed Bubble Bath Day, but here's the deal. I can guarantee you that I actually did, just because it's the course of my day. I took a bubble bath.
You take a... Hold on. This is the first I'm hearing this, and it's disturbing.
What?
You take bubble baths?
This is the first you're hearing of this?
Yes.
Oh, John.
I thought this was a matter of public record.
It is absolutely a matter of public record.
It absolutely is.
This is not something that was addressed with me before I was hired.
He told me when he was interviewing me for the job.
I
told you
did
this?
not. Shut up.
Wow.
So KGB puts up a poll on his own personal X account, I guess.
At Jeff Malinoff, if you want to follow me.
And he asked a question. Why don't you tell folks what your question was,
So,
Jeff?
if you follow me at Jeff Malinoff, Malinoff is spelled Malinoff. Who is the star of Nashville Morning News on 99.7 W2N? Dan Mandis or Joan Jones?
Of course, everybody's saying Joan.
Joan is winning 83% of the vote.
Of course she is.
83%.
It's a low number to start. We gotta
Too big to rig.
Someone said, "Why didn't you put yourself in there?" I'm like, I lose to Joan. Like, I'm not going to compete with her.
That's exactly right. See, there's a number of things going on. Number one, people love Joan. Absolutely flat out, they love Joan Jones.
Yes.
They also hate me.
Well,
They don't hate you.
Okay, that's not true. But I know the title of tomorrow's show, though. The title of tomorrow's show will be Nashville Morning News with Dan Mandis, starring Joan Jones.
I like it. It has a ring to it.
Right, it does, absolutely.
It flows.
Dan, are you okay with this?
It actually really doesn't. No, it doesn't. But you know what? That's okay. Here's the deal. People show their love for me by messing with me.
They do.
Oh, it's true.
And do you know what's funny about this? Is that this has actually been my deal literally since high school. Like, since high school, I've been the butt of all the jokes.
Oh, Dan.
Now we feel bad.
I suddenly feel very bad for myself, actually.
we do too. We don't want that.
But here's the deal, is that, again, we all know, it's all meant in good fun. I don't want to belabor the point.
Absolutely.
All my friends in high school, I think there were like 2, they all made fun of me. See, Joan got the joke.
Now the text line is like saying we love you, Dan. So now you're making them feel bad.
Let's move on to making fun of somebody else.
Somebody also said Joan has hair and Dan doesn't.
Do you know what the great thing is, though? I was actually watching Chad Benson on Noon to 3 here on WTN. He's got the shine, too.
Does he?
If you watch, because, you heard they're redoing the big studio.
Yeah,
Well,
we got a studio redo.
Not big. But they're redoing it. I don't know exactly what they're doing.
This is like a 3-family apartment in New York.
This is exactly what that's like.
It's about 20 grand a month for sure.
Yeah.
So so I don't know exactly what they're doing. I think they're going to put a couple of ferns on either side. It'll be like between two ferns.
I love that, actually.
Yes.
I do. The Zach Galifianakis Hillary Clinton episode was, it goes down in history.
Did you see that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. So, so they're redoing this. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I guess there's going to be like a big TV back here.
Ooh. All right.
They're giving you a star filter.
65 inches. What'd you say?
They're giving you a star filter.
What is that?
You know, when Barbara Walters always used it, when they kind of blur the lines of your face to make you look more glamorous.
Oh.
Yeah. Look it up, star filter.
We need more glam.
I actually made...
I don't know why that got me. Just like out of nowhere.
That was way inappropriate laughter for that joke.
No, because because one, I knew you would kind of get it. Two, just out of nowhere.
I just think
we need more glam.
We need more glam.
No, it just it just came out of nowhere. Just like,
you know what we need to do?
I got a fever, and we need more.
We need to bedazzle my head.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun? Put a bunch of glitter up there and stuff.
My kids will be happy to help.
Now, do you know, I'd bring Kennedy in and just, do a live, glitterization of my head. Anyway.
But how would you attach? I mean, is it going to be with glue? How do you put it on?
We could probably put some Velcro up there, maybe.
Velcro.
Yep. You know what I wanted to do on April Fool's? Now I can't do it because I'm telling you about it. Amy so desperately she actually bought me a toupee.
No.
And so she wanted me on April Fool's
to
wear a toupee.
No, you have to do it even though you're talking about it right now. You have to do it.
And I was going to do a faux live commercial about a toupee shop in Nashville.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God!
I was going to do that.
You should have, man.
Oh,
I should have done it.
Yeah, we need that.
You should still do it.
You need to you come in one day just randomly. It doesn't even have to be April Fool's. One day you come into the show with a wig, just to see people's reactions.
A Bob Ross wig.
I was thinking something more believable, but you do you.
Whatever, man. Anyway, where were we going with all this?
All right, so let's shift the focus. We didn't want to. I didn't want to.
Oh, your big night last night, Chris.
Oh yeah, well, I had a big night with the Rutherford County Republican women. They were awesome.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring this piece of audio. The NFC Championship game is happening this weekend.
Yes.
Washington Redskins versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
This is correct.
Yes.
That's so.
Right. Joan's an Eagles fan.
Are you an Eagles fan?
I'm from the Philadelphia area.
Perfect. Well, this is for you. Philadelphia Mayor Cheryl Parker. She decided that she needed to lead her city in a chant. So she's at a parade, and there's all these police behind her, and there's all this media attention. So she decides, what do the Eagles fans do? They spell it out, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is her attempt.
Let me hear you all saying E-L-G.
Oh, gosh.
E-S. Eagles.
Oh,
Let's
my
go,
goodness.
Birds. Let me hear
She spelled Elgsis.
What?
She had a Kamala moment.
Wait, hold on. So let's go ahead.
Oh my God.
Let's go ahead and play it again. Didn't Fetterman do something like this too?
He had a stroke, though.
Yes, he did.
Excuse.
He had a stroke. All right, here we go. One more time.
Let me hear you all saying E-L-G-S-E-S. Eagles.
What the
How do you
heck?
spell birds?
Let's go, Birds.
Let's go, Birds.
She probably spells birds B-W-R-D-L-S.
Q.
You know, she probably,
Q.
in fairness, she probably went to, Philadelphia Public Schools.
True.
Yeah.
And so that's what
Yeah.
you get with Philadelphia Public Schools.
Oh, my
E-L-G-S-E-S. Eagles. Let's go, Birds.
That's horrible.
So she's never seen an Eagles game in her life, has she?
That's the mayor of Philadelphia, guys.
She had to have just
Yeah.
misspoke.
What party do you think she's from?
I have a guess.
Gee, I wonder.
Does she have an election coming up, like this coming year or the next year? Like,
I
when's
think
her
she
term?
was just elected.
Oh, so
Yeah.
if this happened before that, she would have lost handily. You don't mess with the Eagles in Philly.
No. Philadelphia is
No.
very special political.
You don't mess with two things in Philly.
Yeah.
The Eagles and Rocky.
That's it.
Right.
Also, Philly cheesesteak you add in there too.
Sure.
They're overrated.
Absolutely
They're
over.
not.
Actually, they are. I've been to Philadelphia. I've had one of their cheesecakes.
Joan just proved my point, by the way.
Cheesecakes? Cheese?
Steaks.
Cheesesteaks. Cheesesteaks. I had one.
Cheesecake.
This Philly cheesecake doesn't live up to the hype.
It's cold. Why is it cold? It's sweet? I don't get it. Where's the bread?
I'm getting ready to go see my sweet baby cheesecakes here coming up, heading home to Amy. No, I had a cheese steak. What?
In Philly.
In Philly, yeah. And I mean, this was like 20 years ago, at least.
Did you have it wit?
Wit?
Yeah.
I don't know. They just gave me one. I ate it. What is she talking about?
You didn't have it with anyone.
So, cheesesteak wit is with fried onions.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nope.
Fried onions.
I don't recall fried. Well, I lasted one bite. That's what I'm telling you. What? I lasted one bite.
Joan's gonna walk out any second.
Well, it's okay. I need to be the star. She can leave.
The viewership will plummet.
Was it the Cheese Whiz version? Because that's what I can't get over.
Yeah.
Okay. They handed me a cheesesteak. I took a bite. I was on a business trip. I took a bite, and it was one of the most disgusting things, almost right up there with whiskey.
Something's wrong with you.
Wait. You don't like whiskey either?
No.
Okay, now you're not welcome in Nashville.
So you know what the funny thing is? Like, here's a problem, Chris. I'm working with Joan and KGB, who don't know my history on the station about the time when our friend Pamela Furr brought me in some whiskey to try, and I spit it out in the trash can.
Oh
you did?
Wait, what kind of whiskey? It depends on the whiskey.
It was terrible whiskey, actually.
You know the brand? Like, you don't
no,
know?
I don't know the brand.
Okay.
But it tastes like gasoline.
Have you ever had vodka? That's gasoline.
Did you ever do
that's
moonshine?
No,
moonshine. That's gasoline. No, Joan's right.
So anyway, so that was my So Joan's learning all kinds of things about me today.
I really am.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. If Philadelphia wins, I'm sorry. When Philadelphia wins this weekend, I'll bring cheesesteaks in.
Are we doing Pat's or Geno's?
We're doing Geno's. There's only one.
Joan, I gotta say, I think Washington has
and I'm
the
so
momentum.
impressed you know about that.
Can I ask a question? What is a Pat versus a Geno?
They were the two rival companies, in Philadelphia, and you were either in the Pat's corner or the Geno's corner.
So are you going to make them with grilled onions?
We're going to make it wit. See, Dan, you have to have the lingo, the Philly lingo. It's. Can I have a cheesesteak wit?
Okay.
We need.
I'll make them wit.
If you make one, can I have one?
What's it going to have on it besides cheese and steak? I can't do onions, man.
Fried onions.
Just onions.
You can't do onions?
No, onions are gross.
Grilled onions are the
come
best.
on.
Amy and I fight about this all the time.
Onions are awesome.
So if you ever go to the Outback Steakhouse, you're like, no bloomin' onion for me.
Do you know? Okay. Am I the only one? I can't believe this has come up. Because I almost posted this. Am I the only one that will get onion rings and then cut the onion ring open, pull the onion out?
I can't believe you.
Pull the onion out and then eat the breading or whatever that is. I do that.
You take out the onion and eat just the fried breading?
I do.
What is
I
wrong
love that
with
stuff.
you?
A lot.
Oh my God. Are you 12? Like really?
Oh my gosh!
I'm beginning to realize why Joan is the star of the show.
When I cook any dinner I cook, I have to have grilled onions with it because I just grill it into
any dinner.
What about if you're going to be romantic? I'm beginning to realize. Did you hear Natasha broke up with?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dumped them.
My wife just texted and said our 4-year-old does that with onion rings.
Thank you for changing the subject. All right. But yeah, I just can't believe you don't. I can't believe you do that.
Because she doesn't. Look, if you're going to be intimate or attempt intimacy, the last thing you want to do is cook something with grilled onions.
What?
Back me up, Chris.
Nah.
What if I made her a burger with grilled onions? That's a bad thing?
See, if she has grilled onions too, it negates. There's no problem.
You gotta level the playing field.
If both people have grilled onion breath, it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know.
I'm learning this for the first time.
This is crazy.
Well,
is that your least favorite vegetable? Onions?
I hate onions. I eat all kinds of vegetables. I like.
But yet you'll order onion rings and just eat the breading and
So we're clear.
The breading still tastes like onions.
Yeah,
like it still has an onion tinge that you're not going to get rid of. And you're fine with the tinge.
I got to be me.
Just order.
I got to be me.
Just
I'm a
order French
peacock. You got to
fries.
let me fly.
Oh my, other guys, respect. But I'm sorry, just order French fries instead of onion rings, or is it just the batter tastes good to you?
Okay, so here's the deal. I allow my wife to
Allow your wife. Started off on the wrong foot, man.
She can
Careful.
If I allow her to pick the appetizer and she wants onion rings, then I'm gonna okay, fine. I'll just pull the onion out of the batter. It's all good. I'm easy to work with.
Okay. Well, have you ever ordered like your own appetizer? Are you allowed?
I'm a little frugal. I don't like to order 2 appetizers.
Oh my goodness. Seriously.
We only allow one in the Mandis household.
And when he leaves the restaurant, the salt and pepper shaker in his pocket.
Amy and I actually have fights over meals. Like, and she's probably listening right now. She's like, I know where this is going. We went to Cheesecake Factory one time, got in a big fight because
the menu is infinite. How do you okay, continue.
No, she got a piece of cheesecake. I didn't want an entire cheese. I've told this story before. I didn't want an entire piece of cheesecake. I wanted a bite of hers. She wouldn't give me a bite.
Oh,
I don't blame her.
She actually wouldn't give me a bite. I was like, we'd only been dating for a couple of months, and I seriously reconsidered the relationship.
Amy does it just
she
like
wouldn't
Joey.
give me a bite. And I'm like, I just want a little bite. Honest to goodness, I thought she was kidding. And so then we're at the table at Cheesecake. I cannot believe that this, at the time, 32-year-old woman would not share a piece of cheesecake. I said to her father, did you not teach her to share?
What?
Yes, I did.
Oh, Dad.
We worked it out.
Apparently you did.
Good Lord.
It is still a topic of conversation to this day.
You started the conversation with allow my wife, and then you went up to her dad and goes, what is wrong with her?
What did you do?
Would you raise her in a barn?
How did you? Oh, my goodness. It's like Dan
So
is
when
giving
you-
us advice on what not to do
So-
with a significant other.
So, KGB, when you can actually get past the first date,
I know. I don't know how you got past it.
Roasted. Roasted.
I have a date tonight.
do you?
With
Yeah.
the
Where you
new
going?
Natasha.
Yes.
Natasha 2.0.
We're going to a bar, and there's like a little
You
bowling
gonna get
alley in
onion
there,
rings?
too. You know what? I might just out of spite. I'm gonna ask her about this. What do you think of
You're
onion
going
rings?
Bowling, isn't that where you took the first Natasha?
No, I took her to Putt Shack. That's the putting place.
Gotcha.
Well, no, we had to cancel it because it was the Friday night of the storm.
Oh, yeah.
And they gave me a refund though. But anyways, I made her dinner instead. That's what I did.
With grilled onions.
I did the breakfast for dinner thing, and she liked it.
Okay.
Anyways,
So you're taking tonight's Natasha to
a bar. Like there's a little bowling alley. It's a little like a little.
So you know what's
fun.
going to happen, Joan?
What is it?
Like in the next couple of years, if young Jeff stays with us, we're going to be up to like Natasha 104.
Should we keep track? Is this Natasha? Okay. If this actually does work out, I can't tell her, hey, on the air, you're Natasha 2.0.
No, we'll tell her. We'll tell her for you.
Absolutely.
At some point,
Thank
if y'all
God
get
she's
married,
asleep. Thank God she doesn't wake up this early.
there's recordings.
Do you know
Have
what?
you never heard of that?
Do you know what I
She's not
sadly
gonna search.
learned, Jeff, is that there's recordings of us like all over the place.
Yeah.
So you can't
She's just
escape
gonna-
it.
She's going to find out eventually that she's 2.0.
I remember walking into my house one time and Amy was giving me the death stare, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she's got her computer in front of her and she's watching our YouTube video.
Oh no!
Lord have mercy. Anyway, so does she know a KGB that you are a famous radio personality?
She knows.
Have you played that card?
She knows I'm in radio, but she doesn't know what I do. I just say I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, all right, there you go.
Is she a liberal?
No.
Good.
I'm sorry. I make sure of that. I tell her, hey, I'm right leaning. If you have a problem with that, sorry, but
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Attaboy.
I never like if someone says if Trump's an issue, I'm like, you're an issue.
There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
Based.
I see a lot of Natashas in your future.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conservative women out there. You'll be surprised.
Listen, I got the best one. Amy,
Well,
she's
apparently-
conservative as
well-
all get out, with the exception of the whole non-sharing of the cheesecake thing. And don't get me going on the whole cookie dough
Oh,
situation
cookie
we
dough
had
too?
one time.
Wait, do you not like cookie dough?
I love cookie dough,
Okay,
but we'll
okay.
save that for another day.
Okay, I was about to say.
Hi, Chris. You've had a lot of input today. What's coming up?
Well, I'm not a fan of trusting the science, so we'll talk about that cancer vaccine. Plus, we'll talk about Trump being back at work, and he hasn't nailed everything. So we got a couple of critiques.
Do you have your favorite? Do you have a favorite executive order? Did
Sure
we do.
do.
This? Which one is yours?
Ending birthright citizenship.
Is that your fave?
That's my favorite.
Okay.
It makes people uncomfortable, and he's the first president that we've had in decades with a spine to even attempt
And
to
you
try
know what?
to end it.
That needs to go to the Supreme Court. They got
It's gonna have to.
because it has been absolutely abused.
Yeah, it's got to end.
8:50. Did you hear that whack job bishop? You know that story, right?
Yes, I have that as well.
Good. Dan Mandis here. What? Say.
I was going to say, I can't believe they didn't walk out. I thought they handled it with class and grace.
Yes.
A heck of a lot more class and grace than that bishop. Moving right along. Dan Mandis here. Did you know that January can be a great time to clean, purge, and become healthier? Zero Res can help you do just that. They offer you a healthier way to clean your home. And using Zero Res means that they use cleaning agents that leave your carpet cleaner and healthier than those other carpet cleaning companies. You know, they do have that ZR water technology. That means they leave no soap, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. Now, they're going to clean and sanitize your surfaces without the use of detergents or harsh chemicals, which means that, yes, your carpet stays clean longer, unlike those other carpet cleaning companies. I've been using Zero Res for years now, and right now, they've got a great deal just for you. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for only $99, and you can celebrate the new year with 25% off of upholstery cleaning. Be healthy and stay healthy in 2025 with Zero Res. Restrictions may apply. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. Get that great deal. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com.